Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmie. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you folks so much for joining us. We are jacked this week.
Yeah.
We're excited this week because we have a weird story. It's an old-timey story, which means lots of weird old-timey stuff and lots of newspaper clippings from the 20s. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a ball doing some old-timey stuff.
You read a lot of brown magazines this week.
Oh, I read some sepia-colored shit this week, Jimmie. I've been in sepia heaven this week. So
lots of Instagram filters on these.
You know it, all over it. So been doing that. Tons of crazy stuff this week. There's a wild crime. It's the whole thing is nuts. So you can see what it was like to be a brain damaged boxer in the 1920s and 30s.
Oh, good grief!
Which was just brutal. Basically, sometimes they'd fight 3 times in a day.
Oh,
it's wild. Before we get into it, very quickly, just want to thank everyone for your reviews this week. Please, it helps out the show a lot if you do that. Apple Podcast, that purple icon, give us 5 stars, helps drive us up the charts. Say whatever the hell you want. Say it's dark in here. Please let me out. We don't care. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your crime and sports needs. You have your merchandise. Everything is there for you. Also, all your small town murder stuff. Yeah. If you're not listening to Small Town Murder, it's us talking about murder in a small town. I don't understand what you could not like about that. So
easy formula.
Check that out every Thursday. P.S. I Hate This Movie every Friday, where me and my wife tear up romantic comedy movies, and that's a lot of fun. Check that out. If you want to be a hero of ours, not only a hero of ours, if you want to get lots of content. It's a double. You get to be a producer, and we're going to talk about at the end of the show.
Holy shit.
Glowing terms. And on top of that, you get lots of bonus stuff. We're constantly putting out bonus stuff, and you get it for both shows. So anyone over the $5 level on Patreon can get all the access to everything. And if you want to be one of those people, very easy at patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can head over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com, if you just want to be a wonderful person who wants to give something back. So thank you guys for everything you do for us. We really, really appreciate it. And oh boy, do we have a weird episode today. Good. I'm excited for this one. I've had this one on the books for a long time. Sarah actually found this story like 3 years ago. She's like, "You should do this story." And I was like, "Yeah, I will." And I put it in the book, and it's just been waiting and percolating. So we went to, last week was War Machine.
Right.
As you know, hope you guys enjoyed also of the bonus episode of the prison blogs of War Machine. Which was a lot of fun.
The self-importance of a man who beat a woman. I mean, granted, he hadn't beaten a woman yet.
No.
I mean, he'd beaten a lot of people.
He'd beaten a lot of people, and I'm sure some women got thrown in there, and all the bar fights he was tearing up. He broke glasses into a waitress's face. That wasn't very nice.
But the self-importance of a man who wound up being sentenced to life.
He really thought he was somebody.
He loves him.
Yeah, he loves him. So we'll see. And he broke all the rules that we have. Everything that we've laid out, he broke. So,
Jesus.
But that thing was brand new. I mean, that story he was just sentenced a couple of years ago. Right. So that was really pretty new. So I'm like, this week, let's go back a little bit.
All right.
By the way, next week, we're doing Scottie Pippen.
Oh, great.
The Bulls player. We never cash in on anything being timely.
Let's do the Last Dance stuff.
We never do it. We always have it sitting there, and we never do. I'm always like, why not? Everybody, why? Let's not be successful. Let's lay back, and because we're comics, so we're like, we don't want to be hacky, but it's like, no, I've planned on doing this story. I didn't know shit that they were, whatever. So Scottie Pippen next week, everybody. Enjoy that.
What a face on that man.
He's one of the top 10 ugliest men in sports.
Certainly one of the most recognizable.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
When we talked to Jay Moore on that show, we had a discussion of ugliest athletes, and his name was prominently thrown around in that mix. very prominently.
Very recognizable, for better or worse.
When
That's
you get
what it is.
Bulls Pacers in the 90s, you'd have Pippen, Reggie Miller, and Rick Smits all on the floor at the same time. It was like, holy shit, what the fuck happened on this floor?
Throw Bill Cartwright's weirdly round head in there.
The whole thing.
Same thing.
It's a goddamn mess, man.
Disaster.
It's fucked up. So anyway.
Bill Cartwright put goggles on that fucking thing.
Bill Cartwright.
Why would he do that?
I hated every Bulls center they ever had. Cartwright, Wennington, Purdue, all of them.
One.
Bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
Luke Longley later on, who then got passed along to the only two teams I like.
Well, didn't he go to
Suns, Knicks?
Didn't he go to the Dallas Mavericks too?
Who knows after the Suns and Knicks? It didn't matter. He was just garbage. So anyway, let's move on to what we have today here. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. It's our fellow of the day is Raymond Henry Bousquet. Mm-hmm. Now, even if you've heard of the boxer, you've never heard that name because that's his real name. Yeah. What he was known as throughout the world was Del Fontaine.
Oh.
Del Fontaine, which sounds cooler.
Wait, that's his whole name?
Well, his real name is Raymond Henry Bousquet.
Yeah.
But he goes by Del Fontaine.
Del
Fontaine, which sounds like you're like a lounge singer. Yeah. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a blue shiny suit.
Yeah, I'm Del Fontaine. It sounds smooth. Like you're going to... Well, in Godfather, Johnny Fontaine was the guy that, he was the slick, famous singer guy. Right. That's why I think that's popping into my head. But this is pre that. This is Del Fontaine, which boxers back then, nobody went by their real name.
No.
It's the weird. Now everybody goes by their real name and they have a nickname. Uh-huh. Back then, nobody really had nicknames. A couple people would be like Dynamite Joe, it'd be like Dynamite Joe Smith or something. Sure. But nobody would use their real name.
Change everything.
It was because marquee. It's all on the marquee. Uh-huh. So it would have to look cool. And Raymond Bousquet just doesn't look great. Whereas Del Fontaine sounds like international and like it sounds cool. Plus, they did it almost like wrestling has done throughout the years, where they really concentrate on people's ethnicities that's their character. Yeah. Boxing did that big time because they would try to get people that way. All of those
get that group
to buy tickets,
get all the eye ties, get all the Polish people, and now we got these two.
They did it. They've done it in wrestling till 20 years ago, and they did it in boxing a lot back then.
That's why the Irish thing being played up so hard in fighting is such a big deal.
Absolutely,
that makes sense
because you want every fucking Irish guy to empty out the firehouses and come to the show that night. And back then, so he'd be Irish Mickey, whatever, Mickey Ward or whatever.
O'Rourke.
Yeah, Irish. This guy, everybody was Irish back then. That's what it was. That's
a big deal.
Hulk Hogan. One of his first gimmicks was playing up that he was Irish.
Stop that.
Vince McMahon Sr. wanted him to be Irish. That was the whole thing. Yeah, he was. It was the whole
6'7" leprechaun.
And they wanted him to be Irish, to get the Irish people out. Because in his mind, think about this, late 70s, he was probably thinking, okay, maybe I'll get one more thing out of Bruno, and we get the Italians and the Irish to kill each other in Madison Square Garden one night. We moved them all. He had Pedro Morales, who was Puerto Rican, and half the crowd would be Puerto Rican, and then he'd be fighting whoever, they had a Greek guy back then who had fucking every Greek person in New York would show up. It was just the way it was. So Del Fontaine, he's French-Canadian, Bousquet. Del Fontaine sounds more French. Yeah. It sounds more international. Sure. It sounds more smooth. Do
you think that embracing things like that via sports is something that kind of encouraged racism around the country?
Absolutely.
For sure, right?
That's what they were trying to do.
Right?
I don't know if it encouraged it, but it was mirroring it and then reflecting it back.
Sure doesn't stop it.
It would just reflect. Right. It was two mirrors reflecting back.
It doesn't just say, let's embrace your heritage.
Yeah.
It's let's fucking embrace this one versus this one. It absolutely, if it's not on the surface,
it
for
is.
Sure, subliminally.
Yeah, they did that to the Jerry Cooney was the great white hope. Yeah. Everybody called him. I mean, they did that forever to try to make people.
That's wild.
They need to tribalize people for buying tickets. It helps, and it's exactly what they do with wrestling. I want to see a guy a group of people want to see one guy kick another guy's ass, and they'll buy tickets to watch it.
Yeah.
Here they're just like, let's see if we can get half the crowd wanting one guy to get his ass kicked, half the crowd wanting the other guy to get his ass kicked.
It's essentially a world war, one guy at a time.
Yeah, and also too that would benefit the bookmakers of the time too, because people would bet irrationally on their pride and their heritage,
because they wear a horn on their chest.
Absolutely. You have no idea in all these newspaper articles how many times they play up like, the Frenchman said, by the way, the word. I've been reading papers from the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
I have read the word Negro approximately 700,000 times this last week.
Yeah.
That's the only word in the newspaper that existed. And back then that was, they're trying to be respectful. Right. That was like the newspaper respectful word. But it was just weird to read constantly. But it was always like, he thinks he can take the Negro. And I'm like, what?
Calm down.
What the hell is happening? My modern eyes were like, no.
You'd be fired today, but all right.
You can't say that. So, and you should.
Take it easy, Newsweek.
Yeah, calm down. Jesus Christ.
Time Magazine's really going hard.
I mean, life has gone away from the pictures and the pictures of cute kids and royal weddings, and they've really gone to something else. So, Dell is born February 2nd, 1904. Think about that. 1904.
Yeah.
I don't have much on his childhood because I don't know if they had any way of documenting. I understand they did, but the only thing I can imagine is I'm sure his parents beat him because that's what they did back then. And I guarantee you, he grew up in Canada and he was born in Winnipeg or in Saskatchewan. He moved to or whatever. So
lucky to be alive.
Yeah, I guarantee you, he shit in a cold hole at night. That's all I can tell you about his childhood.
That'll make you fighting mad.
There was a cold, dark hole to shit in. So that's all I know. Now, I found I looked at a sports section from 1904 just to get like a lay of the land of what's happening in 1904. What sports was. And I found an article just to give you an idea of the time rather than his childhood. Go over this because it's hilarious. Wow. This is about how they're talking about in college I'll just read it to you here. It says that they had a meeting. They have another meeting in 2 weeks. This Curtis guy. Curtis does not believe there will be any radical changes. This is about football. Although he greatly favors the adoption of a rule that will permit the quarterback to run with the ball. This is in college football. That's how long ago this is.
They're passing a rule for the QB sneak.
Literally that he might be able to run with the ball.
He might be able to pass the line of scrimmage one day.
So then he says, this is amazing. Quote, there is nothing the matter with the present code of rules, except in the point of clearness. This talk about the game being brutal is sickening. This is in 1904, by the way, when they were like...
No helmets.
You were allowed to do anything.
Right.
You clothesline people, you could fucking forearm them in the teeth as they ran by.
It's brutal. That's ridiculous.
It's sickening.
Yeah.
Where one player is severely hurt in football, 100 are sent out into the world as perfectly developed men, both physically and mentally. If it wasn't for football and boxing, our young men would be weak and inactive. What do people want to have collegians play? Croquet? Pinochle? Puss in the corner? What the fuck is Puss in the Corner?
He just called them pussies.
No, that's a game, I think, from that.
It is.
Puss in the Corner, but that's what
it is. It's if you don't want to play football,
you're a pussy,
what are you, a pussy in the corner?
You play Puss in the Corner, and people smack you and flick your ears as they go by. Who's that? Oh, he's Puss in the Corner. Okay.
He's the MVP of Pussy in the Corner.
Yeah, he's doing really great at it. Puss in the Corner, and Who's Got the Button? Okay. That's another game, I guess. It is absolutely ridiculous to hear the constant cry, brutal, brutal, brutal. Football is a gentleman's game played by men who believe in true sport and fair play.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it is the greatest sport in all of the land.
Excuse me while me and the other journalists go play Smear the Queer.
Yeah, that's just what they called football back then. They're like, or, quote, football, as the liberals like to call it. As the progressives are calling it these days.
Smear the Queer is just the guy holding the football.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, no, they mixed one actual guy that they thought was a little squishy in there and tried to murder him with their bodies. That's what it was.
What the fuck?
Well, he was like, I wore a red shirt. I'm sorry.
I'm married.
I have 4 children. I run a mining camp, please.
I enjoy her body, I swear. Stop hitting me.
Good Lord.
I dropped the ball. Stop putting it back in my hand.
So that's 1904.
Right.
So that's what this dude came up in, a time when, boxing was considered a gentleman's thing, and perfectly fine to beat each other's faces in. Now he comes up, he starts boxing. It was about 21 when he starts boxing. 20, does some amateur fights, 21. His style, the crowds loved him. He's a crowd pleaser, but he's not the greatest boxer. He's just insanely aggressive and has no defense.
Wow.
Like, you Google Rocky Marciano fighting, that's this guy.
Really?
Same way, same style, the way it's described in every newspaper. It's the same style, puts his head down and comes at you dropping bombs, and if you hit him, great, but he's going to hit you hopefully harder and first and win. That's his style, but a crowd loves that. That's like watching a fucking movie boxing match. There's no... He's not standing there bobbing and feeling each other out and tapping gloves and doing all that shit. It's bell rings, I'm going to fucking murder you. So you're going to either knock me out or I'm going to knock you out. It's fun, though, to watch, I'm sure, especially back then. The gloves were not the same back then, first of all. They were... way less padded, way smaller.
Right.
And back then, guys would put things in their gloves.
Sure.
They would make like what's highly illegal now and what actually people went to jail for in the early 80s, wrapping your gloves, wrapping your hands with paper mache, getting your wraps wet. With that, they would do that. They would put thumbtacks in their gloves. They would put to cause cuts. They would put
metal.
They'd wrap metal over their knuckles. This was fucking brutal times.
Fuck yeah.
And unless it was a big fight, these guys are fighting for $100. Which was a lot of money back then.
You could die for $100.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of these fights could give you some good brain damage back then. And if you did a lot of them like our guy did here.
Did you do a lot?
Oh, we'll talk. We're not going to go over every fight, by the way. We'll go over like if a guy has a funny name or something or some shit like that, some weird thing about it. But I'm not going to go on June 14th, 1927, he fought, Boxcar McGee. And it went, I'm not going to do that with every fight. We don't have time. Also, because he fought like 109 fights or something also. Oh, yeah.
Was he pretty storied in boxing? A lot of people know who he is.
Well, yeah, he was at the time. We'll talk about it. He became Canadian middleweight champion at one point.
Unbelievable.
And the way he fought made him sought after. People wanted to have him on their cards because people loved watching him. He was, even if he lost, they didn't give a shit because he would put on a show. Period. It's going to be a show. So every match he'd get the piss pounded out of him and he would take steps back and he would turn and grin at the crowd like he was a showman. Guys back then didn't do that much, so he'd turn and grin at the crowd
like a mouthful of blood, grin
at the crowd,
Jesus.
All fucking battered and shit, and then go back in there and start throwing hands again. I mean, that's the type of guy he was. So the crowd, who doesn't want to watch that guy fight?
I want to see it.
You want to watch that guy,
really do.
Especially back then when there's a bloodlust.
Right.
They're like,
I wish there was HD video of this shit.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh my God, that'd be much better than anything on YouTube today.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Jesus.
Watching some guys.
I'm gonna watch some Asian woman open little girls' toys. No, thank you. I'm gonna watch Del Fontaine get the piss beat out of him.
Yeah, I'm really tired of the. Okay. Any adults that are doing toy opening videos, I feel like there are 5 kids tied up with these toys already up their asses, waiting for their next round of whatever these people have in store for them. That is not normal shit to do.
No.
It's weird.
Right.
And the way they do it is creepy, and it doesn't come across as like kindergarten teachery either. It comes across as like, look at this. Let me touch your butthole. You look at this toy and I'll be around back.
Their grasp on the English language also with the interest of the toy, like it feels like it's very similar.
Yeah.
They don't speak English well, and they don't give a fuck about this toy. They give a fuck about who's watching it.
The American ones are really creepy.
Oh,
The American people are like, oh, yeah, look at that.
Boy.
Like, oh, you look at the toy. I'm going to do a little circle gets the square on your butthole.
But there's a lady that lives in Scottsdale. It's a little Asian lady that does it, and it is horrifying. It's terrifying what she's doing because it feels like she wants my daughter to come over.
I don't like it when it's American couples that do it.
Oh,
I don't know if they're together, but it's a man and a woman. And they're like, and we had this one last time. Oh, look, he's so cute.
This one came with the cape.
Seriously. Dude, it's fucking disturbing. It's really weird shit.
But
they crush.
Yeah, their mortgage paid.
They crush.
Means our argument is null and void.
They work way less hard than me and you, and they probably, I'm sure,
way bigger houses,
have way nicer stuff. So you know
what?
With
a team of people cleaning their pool.
Jokes on us. Yeah. Apparently, butthole diddling pays. What are you going to do? How are we to know?
James, I'm going to bring over LOL surprises next week, and we are going to open them.
Let's do it.
See if they crush.
Jimmie, look. Oh, this one's so adorable. I love the detail around its eyes.
You think we could do it and fucking destroy with like...
No, they would sense the...
They sense the sarcasm?
The derision in our voices. They would just know. They'd be like, oh, they hate us.
These two assholes.
Oh, man.
They hate us and our children.
They're hate fucking these toys right now with positivity. It's no good. It's no good. But they would never think we wanted to fuck their children.
Never.
Like, these guys hate kids. Right. Why are they doing this?
That guy's drinking beer. That guy's smoking weed
what is
while they open this. What is happening?
They're like, what stupid kid would like this piece of shit? And he threw it across the room. This is not, I don't think, for children.
Get on eBay and buy shit from the 80s. Goodbye. See you next week.
Hey, kid, if you like this, you're a fucking moron. Next. Let's open that one. Now the other piece of shit. Bring it to me. That one. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Have your parents buy you an $80 action figure from '86.
Yeah.
And then open it right in front of them.
That's what I want. Open the Omega Supreme Transformer. There was like a whole village.
Do that shit.
Do that shit. I'll watch you then. But this shit's bullshit.
Piss money away and devalue toys.
You're opening fucking...
Do that for me.
Tiny little weird... I don't even know what the shit they're
Something cost you $5.
Yeah.
And you're opening it and making a mint.
Yeah, fucking LOL dolls and shit.
Jerk off.
I want you...
I want you to lose money.
Pop open Castle Grayskull and let's talk about it. You know what I mean?
Open the fucking...
Get the Skeletor castle with the little microphone.
Yeah. Open the $6 million man. Do that shit on you.
That's what I want.
Fuck yeah.
Goddamn people. So anyway, so Dell, as a toy opener, people love him.
Yeah.
That's
what he's doing.
He's basically
opening toys, opening their fucking skull.
Here's a quote from a newspaper back then. This is from some Davenport, Iowa newspaper that's long defunct, 80 years defunct. Yeah. Quote, Fontaine is a crowd pleaser. He fights not only in the first few rounds, but he keeps on battling from bell to bell. He is in the ring because he loves to mix, and his offensive manners make him greatly welcomed by fans throughout the country. So offensive manners. Yeah. Excuse me, sir, I'm going to punch you in the face repeatedly.
With my offensive manners.
With any luck, you'll be unconscious soon. You'll be unconscious. Post-haste. Let's go. All right. He has a busy schedule, and he is the main go performer wherever he goes. Mm-hmm. So he's always the main event. Because people actually will pay to watch him.
Right.
Just because they know it's going to be a fucking wild affair.
That is showbiz.
So, I mean, yeah, it is showbiz. Yeah. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm glad you picked up on that because there's a little theme here that we're going to, because like I said, rather than going over a million fights that nobody gives a shit with fighters that no one's ever heard of, rather than do that, I'm going to try to kind of show time differences because this is almost 100 years ago. So, and how this is the time when sports became kind of an entertainment and like a main thing.
When it draws.
And we're going to talk about a little bit through Babe Ruth because there's a weird correlation there.
There's a parallel.
There's a little parallel here with Babe Ruth. So anyway, he has his first match. He grows up in Winnipeg anyway. He's living in Winnipeg when he starts fighting Del Fontaine here. He has his first match against a guy named Sammy Trapp, whose real name was Sammy Hudson, but his boxing name was Sammy Trapp with 2 P's. As they put it here, a fellow Canadian from Moose Jaw. So
there's a place called Moose Jaw?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Jesus.
Moose Jaw. So you got a couple of Canadians out there. Like I said, a couple of guys who've been shitting in awfully cold, dark holes their entire lives. Fontaine knocks him out in the fifth round. And he wins his next few fights, too, after that. He wins his next 3. He has a draw with 1 and then wins his next 2. So not too bad. Nobody with really funny names here. He fights a guy named Jack Reddick a couple of times. Or Harry Dillon he fights 3 times for some reason. Fights Harry Dillon 3 times in his first 8 fights.
Really?
I don't know why he kept fighting Harry Dillon.
Is there not a lot of people around where he's from that fight?
I mean, I don't know if in Canada, these are all Canadians he's fighting at first, because back then travel wasn't as easy as it was now.
They're all so nice.
Yeah.
They're going to punch each other.
Oh, okay then. All right. Oh, you want to punch now? Okay then. So I'll punch you and then you punch me? Okay, sounds good.
Do it over there in Moose Jaw.
I'm going to give you a good open shot, though, okay? Because I don't want you to miss, and I want you to get your turn, eh?
Right. You got to get points too, eh?
It's a very Canadian match. Takes a while to get going. We'll just put it that. It just takes a long time to get started.
No, you go first.
No, you. No, hey, back and forth. Come on now.
A gentleman waits. Go ahead.
Hey, go ahead. So yeah, back then you couldn't just fly a guy in from Spain to fight you in Regina. It just wasn't the.
That's one of the places he fights.
Yeah, Regina. He fights Harry Dillon one of the times. That is for his third Harry Dillon fight is for the vacant Canadian middleweight championship.
Okay.
So this is like his 7th fight, and he's fighting for the championship. Wow. This fight goes all 10 rounds, which a 10-round fight with this guy.
Yeah.
Because these weren't 10 rounds of standing around going, I put your dukes up. I'm going to. And this was 10 rounds of fucking dropping bombs on each other.
If this guy's dropping bombs, then the other guy has to be able to take it, too.
Take it and try and come back with it. And he has no defense, too. So the other guy's pounding the piss out of him. He just keeps coming and coming. He's like a freight train.
That's the one I want to see.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. I want to see that. Anybody has that. Yeah. Just in case, if you have that just on your phone or whatever.
Reel to reel.
August 14th, 1925, from Regina, Saskatchewan, I believe there. No, not Saskatchewan. Where the fuck is Regina?
Regina. It's where the Pats are at.
Yeah, I know that much. Either way, if you have that fight, I'd really like to check it out. So Harry Dillon here is the champion. So Dell loses that fight. His next fight, he fights a guy named Mark Moore, and this is interesting, at a place called Stadium Rink Moose Jaw. So I feel like this is for hockey.
Yeah, it's a hockey rink.
Yeah, it's probably freezing in there.
Oh, boy.
Very cold.
They didn't even thaw the ice.
No, this is October 16th, 1925. So
it's cold in the first place.
No shit. This fight goes 6 out of 10 rounds, and it's declared a no contest after the ropes give way. The ropes break, and both fighters fall out of the ring onto their heads.
Oh, my God.
They were like clutching, and the ropes broke, and they fell out onto their heads out of that.
Imagine putting through 6 rounds of that shit for them to say
fall
neither
out of
of you
the
get anything.
Nothing. No contest, it's called. Just didn't happen.
Fuck.
Not even a draw.
These bumps and bruises and all the brain damage from the concrete floor sure happen.
I have 2 teeth left, and this nothing. Nothing. They're in the back, too. I can't even smile. So
start an apple with
these. I was going to say, I have my pizza eating days are over. I can't get the slice out. So yeah, that's I thought was a funny thing that you don't see very often. You wouldn't see the ropes break and both fighters fall on their head and they call it a no contest nowadays. It doesn't happen very often. So he fights a man named Maurice after that in Montreal, knocks him out in a couple of rounds. This is a guy who was 0-1. Yeah. And he's like, so I've lost 2 fights. 1-0, and my name is Maurice. It's time to call it a day in the fight game.
He's going to go back to being a dad.
I'll be dad instead. Right. Now, in 1926, in January, he fights a guy named Jackie Cohen, who, and by the way, he's fighting once a month. His fights start in 1925. They are February 19th, March 24th, April 16th, May 11th, May 17th, May 25th. Yeah. That's 3 fights in a month.
17th and then the 25th.
And the last one was an 8-round win on points against the Harry Dillon guy, who he went 10 rounds with 2 fights later.
On 8 days rest.
Yeah. Then June 2nd, a week later, that is. So basically 4 fights in a month. Then he has 2 months off and he has that 10-round loss in August. And then in October, November, and then January, February of the next year, at least once a month he's fighting. He fights a guy named Jackie Cohen, which he sounds like somebody's manager
or somebody's daughter,
little Jackie. This is at the Monument National in Montreal, and the referee stopped the bout here because Cohen had been floored for 2 9-counts in the 3rd round. So it was it was one of the...
He was really kicking the shit out of her.
Yeah. Absolutely. Jack, you take that, you little... You listen here.
Yeah.
So you put your dolls down when I'm beating you.
Knocked her down for 3 9-counts in the 3rd round. So Poor Jackie Coe got the shit pounded out of her.
I would say. I think it was one of the 3 knockdown rule deals here because it's a TKO then. So that's in the 4th round. This happens there. Or third round. The Montreal Gazette from the time says 3rd round. Boxer Rex says 4th round. I'm going to go with the Montreal Gazette from the 1925 probably. They were probably there. So, oh boy. Now, this is interesting. He fights Mark McIntyre next. This is his first match, Mark McIntyre. He ends up with an 0-2 career. So it didn't go well. This is at Monument National again. Okay. Oh my God. This is the way it's described in the paper.
Yeah.
After referee Boucher ordered McIntyre, a maritime Negro to his corner.
Holy shit.
I was like, to his corner, the boxer limped out of the ring instead, claiming a sprained ankle. So that was in his debut.
In his defense, he wanted to call him a pirate end, but he just couldn't do it.
I was going to say. That was...
A maritime Negro?
That's the way.
Unbelievable.
I'm like, that is... What? Just no.
He's a boxer.
He's a boxer.
Stop with his
name is Mark.
Right.
Can we just say
Boxer Mark?
You can say where he's from.
Yeah.
That's cool because in boxing they say that a lot. The Frenchman, the Canadian, the
gotta mention his day job.
That's very strange.
He doesn't take this boxing thing serious.
Wow. Okay. I guess he's just from an island. Is that what they're trying to imply?
I don't know. It sounds like they're calling him a fisherman.
I don't know what. He just lives. He's from the water. We pulled him out of the Gulf of Mexico. What are they trying to say here?
Right.
Either way, they're being a little racist. And on top of that, that's Mark McIntyre had two fights total in his career. Sprained ankle, and I don't know what the hell happened in the next one. So finally, the next fight is in April. All these fights are crazy, the next few. This is a fight at the Forum in Montreal. 11,000 people in attendance for this fight.
Wow.
Big fight. He fights a guy named Billy Leonard, who was a 30-8 fighter coming in. So, and 18 draws. Can you imagine that?
No.
38-18 was his record entering this goddamn match. This man. This is Dell wins the fight by disqualification in the 7th round.
What's the guy do?
It says it took the boxing commission 5 minutes to declare a foul after Leonard's second, his corner man, rushed into the ring and interfered in the fight in some way, shape, or form.
5 minutes later, they're like, he couldn't have done that.
Well, they decided to call the fight and call a disqualification. I guess they were deciding what to do, whether to continue or whatever, and they decided to just disqualify Billy Leonard and give Del Fontaine the win. Okay. So Del is doing well for himself. On May 8th, 1926, he fights Harry Hennig. Henning. No, that was Harry Dillon.
Oh, my God.
Harry Hennig.
I imagine there's, 60% of the country had Harry.
A lot of Harrys, especially anybody, Canadians are under British rule, so you're going to get a lot of Harrys there. Yeah. Harry's a very popular British name. So this is at the Auditorium in Ottawa, and this is for the vacant Canadian middleweight championship, and it goes only 2 rounds. Del gets a TKO win and becomes the Canadian middleweight champion of Canada, I was going to say of the world. Of everywhere Canada has across the world, Grace. Yeah. This is Grace right here. He's a champion. Yeah. He's feeling good. And from then on, his career picks up a lot, as we'll talk about here. He fights, his next fight is his first fight outside of Canada, where he fights in Shibe Park in Philly. That's where the Phillies played at the time. Really? Shibe Park. Yeah, it's like, this has the weirdest setup, Shibe Park. If you play any PlayStation baseball games from the mid 2000s, they'd have historic parks in there, and Shibe was always on there, and it's a really weird square park. It's very strange. Is it Earl Shibe Park? I don't think it's. No, I think it's the owner of the the owner of the Phillies. Was somebody Shibe at when they built it. Probably. Yeah. Okay. One of.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a micro-city built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Those things. So here he fights Bobby Marriott, who's a 26-11 fighter, and knocks him out in 5 rounds. Yeah, not bad here. He then loses a fight to a guy named Frank Moody.
Was that a championship fight?
I believe so. Right? Yeah, it's a championship fight. He loses the next one. This guy that he fought, Frank Moody, his record coming in, and this is in 1926, so imagine what he's been through. Sure. 108, 48, and 12.
Oh, boy.
168 fights he had already coming into this fight.
He has earned that championship pelt.
Fuck yeah. And this fight goes all 10 rounds.
It's a bedazzled beaver pelt.
Oh, you know it. Oh, it is. They don't even do a belt up there. No,
this is a big pelt.
How are you going to keep warm with that, eh? It's just a big pelt that says fucking, well, you know what? It probably says it in moose blood across the front. Champion. I don't know what the hell they do up there. So that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Then he fights a guy named Joe Anderson, and it says Anderson here, this is a DQ again, which is strange. Dell wins by disqualification. It says here, quote, Anderson was just about out on his feet in round 5 from Fontaine's left hooks and threw a desperation left hand that landed low. Mm-hmm. And he was throwing low blows on purpose and got disqualified for it. He's getting walloped.
Is that Dell's thing, the left hook?
For this guy, apparently.
Be, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't know what the fuck he does. There's no footage of him, so
really?
All I have is newspaper accounts. That fight was at Dexter Park Pavilion in Chicago. So he got to fight in Chicago. His next few, he fights in Philadelphia. Yeah. He fights a guy named Rocky Smith. So an original Rocky from 1926.
In Philly,
yeah, it was just fucking pretty amazing. Yeah. Rocky Smith, too. He was probably, they're like, let's make you less ethnic. What do you say? He loses on points to Rocky. He fights a guy named Rocky. Listen to these 3 fights in a row. Guy named Rocky, next a guy named Lefty, and then a guy named Tiger.
Unbelievable.
Rocky, Lefty, Tiger. Rocky Smith, he loses to on points.
Not a human name amongst them.
No. Knocks out Lefty Cooper in 7 rounds, which is nice, in Portland, actually, at the Armory. And then fights Tiger Thomas, who I know is a black guy because I've seen a picture of him. Okay. He's a good fighter, Tiger Thomas.
I just assumed they were all German shepherds. Not a normal person.
Here, Tiger. Come on, Rocky. Fontaine is knocked down in the 6th round here, but it ends up going all 10 rounds, that fight, and it's a draw, points draw. So all that 10 rounds of brutality for nothing. Fights a Golden Gate Arena in San Francisco next. Yeah, he fights a guy named Joe Roche. That goes 10 rounds and he loses. And we'll talk about a couple of these quickly here. I have a couple of like newspaper clips from this time period. Apparently he, once he won the title, that's when he started fighting better fighters too. Like the Bobby Marriott guy was a good fighter. Frank Moody was a Welsh fighter who traveled all the way, to, just the continent over here to fight him.
From the Welsh.
Yeah, from Wales. So, on March 8th, 1927, here is the newspaper clipping from San Francisco. It says, Roche wins nod in bout with Fontaine. And it says, Joe Roche, San Francisco middleweight, won a close 10-round decision over Del Fontaine of Winnipeg in the main event at the Monarch Club here tonight. The San Franciscan finished with a spurt, piling up a slight lead on his opponent. It sounds like he jerked off on him after. He finished with a spurt.
Piled it on.
He covered him it was a terrible bukkake scene afterwards.
He piled it on.
He
literally said that.
Him and his quartermen all
piled it on.
Ejaculated all over him afterwards. It's terrible. It's goddamn terrible.
Looked like soft serve.
Well, it was disgusting. Now, at this time, March of 1927, the sports world is up in arms because Babe Ruth just got a new contract. Okay? And people are mad at him.
They're furious?
Furious at him.
Wait till they find out about his candy bar money.
Oh, boy. Yeah. There's articles that start out, and these articles are all bullshit back then, but there's articles that start out where, little kids coming up to the Babe going, say it ain't so, Babe, tell me, say
that's where it came from?
You didn't take all that money. Oh, that's everybody would say it. Yeah. Say it ain't so, Babe, tell me you didn't take all that money. They said Babe would feel ashamed and walk away. Because he's making money.
Yeah.
It's weird.
How dare you be ashamed of being successful,
this
sir?
is in the 20s. And he's fucking Babe Ruth. It's not like he's, stealing money. He's the goddamn greatest player that ever lived by tenfold over at this point in time. He's hitting.
It's ridiculous.
3 years before that, he had more home runs than every American League team
combined.
There was it's nuts.
He's just doing it.
He's crushing.
Right.
So
as a fat man. It's unbelievable.
Who's hungover all the time. It wasn't every team. He had more home runs than any other whole team had, but individually. So people were mad that his new contract at the time pays him $5,000 less than the president of the United States at the time. They're outraged that a baseball player would dare think he's as important as the president of the United States and take a similar salary.
I don't know.
Outraged.
Was president when he was there?
This was probably Herbert Hoover in 27.
I think he's better.
No, that was a one-term Coolidge, whatever. So anyway.
I think Babe Ruth is better.
He's a little bit, especially if it's Hoover, especially Hoover. He fucking plunged the country into a goddamn depression.
How many times a day is Hoover's name mentioned versus Babe Ruth?
That's what I'm saying.
Babe wins.
Babe wins.
He should have gotten more money.
People were super pissed. You know how much he was making back then?
What is that? $95,000 a year.
$70,000 he was making.
Wow.
He was making 70. Apparently, the president was making $75,000 a year back then.
They've only made
amazing.
$25,000 a year more in 100 years.
Do they make? I think it's 450,000
Oh, it's 400 now.
It's 400,000
Is it
presidential
a year?
salary. Yeah, a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a year.
That's pretty solid.
Well, it's not really that great if you want somebody decent, because you could do that back when CEOs got paid that. But now you can either go be the head of some horseshit company that nobody gives a fuck about with a $75 million golden parachute, or you can have the entire world be up your ass with a fucking microscope for less than $500,000 a year. What would you rather do? You have to be
also
a maniac narcissist to want to be president now.
Man, you can just go do speaking engagements.
Yeah, that's true.
Huge money.
$500,000 a pop.
Show up.
$500,000 a pop, but you could do that if you were the CEO of some company.
That's a great point.
You don't have to, because you'll never do hundreds of millions of dollars. You don't have to.
That's why they don't do speaking engagements. Nobody wants to hear from the guy Ken Lay.
No,
is he dead? I think he's dead.
I hope so, because he was a fucking asshole. Especially if you're a disgraced CEO.
But that's what CEOs are, all right. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone that leaves a company is pretty much a scumbag.
It's a guy in charge of getting your stock price up.
Right.
That's all he is.
That's all he does.
He's beholden to stockholders who tell him do this and that, make the stock. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, he has to do whatever it takes to make these people happy. Yeah. Otherwise, never mind all that shit. So Babe Ruth, $70,000 a year. They're pissed at him for this. Keep in mind, the year before, in 1926, he hit 372 with 47 home runs.
Ridiculous.
372? Yeah. And then in 1927, his first year of this new big contract everyone's so mad about, he only hit 356 with 60 home runs, a record that would stand until Roger Maris broke it, and then, whatever. So, yeah, he was
unbelievable.
If anybody's worth any amount of money, it's fucking Babe Ruth. Yeah. So there's this article, though, holy shit, where they go into the sociology of what this is going to do to the world. Basically, here in the newspaper in 1920,
giving him that money,
giving him
where all this money comes from. This is where it comes from.
This is where. Okay, listen to this shit. Yeah. Okay, the effects of these revelations will become obvious in the very near future. The revelations of athletes being paid a lot of money and people. Quote: "This is a commercial age." That was a commercial age then. This is a commercial age, and the youth of the land will want to become presidents instead of Babe Ruths. Of course, he's saying, if you don't do this. Yeah. Of course, there will be a few who will retain enough of their boyhood ideas to exclaim, I would rather be left-handed than president. But the majority will look upon the Babe as an idol with plaster of Paris feet. The political outlook for the future is ominous.
Good.
I mean, they're saying that people will be mad at this and not want to be like him and make them more to want to be the president, basically. Really? He says, quote, you can work out your own statistics as to what the Babe's new salary may mean. One statistician figures that the Babe is being paid $4.33 a minute. What of it? As Mr. Tennyson did not put it, better 50 years of Babe Ruth than a cycle of the other batters. There's a lot of young men swinging bats in the big leagues, about 400 of them, and there's only one Babe Ruth. In other words, people pay money to watch this guy swing a fucking bat. That's why he's worth it. But this guy's saying $4.33 a minute. Are you kidding me? I have current statistics, by the way, we'll get to in a second. That's fucking crazy. So he goes on, the opinion in the ivory market is that Colonel Jacob Rupert got a bargain, that's the owner of the Yankees back then, got a bargain even if he is paying more than appears on the face of the contract. Also, the Babe is regarded as something of a philanthropist in signing for that amount instead of holding out until the Yankees bookkeeper had a chance to verify the report that enforced absence of the Babe for 40 days a few years back caused a deficit of something like $150,000 in the annual gate receipts.
He's downright charitable for signing for this now.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, because if he just said, I don't feel like it, no one would come and watch. Right. That's what basically they're saying here. Wow. The payment of this salary to the former cigar maker of Baltimore will cause, dude, they have so much disdain for him. To the former cigar maker of he's been in the major leagues for 11 years at this point. He's been a star. He's won like 6 rings. He was the best pitcher, then he was the best hitter, and they're like, former cigar maker of Baltimore. Wow.
That's what they're calling the Babe?
They call it's the Babe.
He made cigars.
When he was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, he grew up in a Baltimore orphanage and knew how to do cigar making. That's what they used to make the kids do.
And that's what they're calling him now.
They said the former cigar, trying to just take it down who he is. Like
what he is at his roots.
He's not the president. He's a dirty, filthy cigar maker from Baltimore, which is dirtier than being a cigar maker. Right. The former cigar maker of Baltimore will cause much deploring and viewing with alarm concerning the distortion of relative values. Wow. It will be pointed out that a good head of the Department of Psychology in an average university only gets about $5,000 a year, but Ruth is being paid $70,000 a year because he's worth more in the matter of making the gate receipts accumulate. It may be true that we're a nation of morons. That's amazing. In 1927, they thought they were a nation of morons. You should see now. This guy would step out of a car, look around, and say, where's the nearest sharp object I can plunge into my heart? Holy fucking shit. Are you kidding me? Morons then?
We got dumber?
Holy fuck. People can understand what he's saying then. People now just go, oh, there's a lot of words. Whoa. I understand. It may be true that we are a nation of morons, but we're a nation of well-to-do morons with the cash to pay for our entertainers. This is pre-depression, but this is Roaring 20s. So, at that, Mr. Ruth is not the most expensive of our entertainers. His work is comparatively arduous. There is, for instance, Mr. Gene Tunney, who will collect $750,000 for his next appearance, which will be brief and probably not too exacting, for the present crop of logical contenders is not particularly formidable. After 2 fights, Mr. Tunney will be in a position to leave the prize ring very flat indeed with $1 million and go into some business. So they're saying a boxer will make more. Gene Tunney was a big boxer. He'll make $750,000 for a fight. True, but he'll also have to get his brains beaten out, and that's a big difference. So, yeah, they're bitching about Babe Ruth. Now, $4.33 a minute. Yeah. Okay, checking this out now, from this one site I found here, NFL players make the most per minute, but MLB players right now make $307 a minute. For each game they play, $307 a minute. NFL players make $2,709 a minute.
But there's less minutes.
But there's less minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Now I found what the median salaries are here and everything like that. You're just going by average salary and average length of career. Your average MLB everything median salary $8,750,000, and the average career lasts 5.6 years. So you can do the math. That's hard, though, because if you only play 5 years, you never get a big contract. So,
and you probably didn't get anything near $8 million a year, big contract or not.
No, well, you would later, but not in your first 5 years. You'd make nothing. So, do you think that's fucking
I can't
433?
Yeah.
Try that shit. That's a lot more. Their heads would have fucking exploded. Nation of morons. I mean, it's crazy. That's crazy, but not. It's not. It's not even close to as crazy as the sales, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, the sales.
Yeah.
In 1927.
Oh.
So if you happen to be, I did this episode almost exclusively to do sales from the 20s. If you happen to be in Oakland, California in 1927, I don't know what's there. Buy as much land as you can.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll tell you that. I know it just seems like fields.
And in the 80s, it's going to get bad.
I understand that. Go across the bay. Buy as much of San Francisco. I know.
Just hang on to it.
You're like, oh, it's full of Chinese. I understand. You're concerned, 20s person.
Right.
But you see, that's going to be worth a 2-bedroom apartment is going to be worth more than 5 years of Babe Ruth.
Right.
Very soon. So get used to that.
Yeah.
So if you happen to do that, go down to Dempsey and Sanders and get they have the new tires in, Jimmy.
Oh.
Goodyear has figured out tires. We have it. Goodyear's new balloon tire.
Oh.
You know, a tire with air in it.
Right.
Not just a solid rubber fucking tire.
Just a disc.
Brand new.
Yeah.
This was.
Just came out.
Tires with, look at that. We have it. Goodyear's new balloon tire. Drive-in service, quality tire repair and retreading down on Jackson Street
How much are they?
It doesn't say.
They don't even tell you?
They don't tell you.
They don't even want you to know.
They don't want you to know. That's a new product.
Yeah.
That's going to be way
The
crazy.
CEO's about to super eclipse Babe Ruth.
Hold on, you want air in your tires? Calm down, Chief. You can go over down to Arthur Ramage Company here. Nice man from the 20s holding up a pair of pants.
Yeah.
As you can see there.
Ramages.
Oh, yeah. Those are. You can get 2 pants and suits for $35. Two suits.
Nice San Francisco ones.
Oh, yeah. Collegiate models, conservative models, new tan bark browns, and choice double twist fabrics. Wow. And just received new crushers from Italy, special only $385. I don't know what that means.
1920 Z Cavarici.
I think so, yeah. That's all it was. Lots of pleats, everybody.
They call them crushers.
Go down to the 10th Street Market at Washington and Clay for specials here. Oh, boy, this is awesome here. Grocery specials from then. First of all, what the hell people were buying.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have Phillips's Big 4 pancake flour, a 4-pound bag for 23 cents.
That seems steep.
That's 4 pounds of flour for 23 cents.
For 1920?
4 pounds is a lot.
Seems expensive.
Pancake flour. I don't know if that's a special kind of flour.
Can you even use it for bread?
I'm not sure.
Probably not.
Coffee, 1 pound carton, 38 cents.
That's a deal.
Roman meal, large package.
Yeah.
Is that bread? The Roman meal bread, 33 cents. Yellow cling peaches. Oh, boy. 12.5 cents. A tin.
Yeah.
A tin.
Gross.
Matches, large box. 3 boxes for 10 cents.
Deal.
I'll take it. Strawberries, preserves, 3 pound for 66 cents. That's a good deal.
That's
3
a big
pounds.
size jar.
That's a lot of strawberry reserves. Shortening, 1 pound. Something and 40-cent rubber apron, both for only 39 cents.
Oh.
Seems like a steal there. Council sliced dried beef.
What?
11 cents.
Council
sliced dried beef jar, 11 cents.
Gross.
A jar of dried beef? I don't want that.
Is that jerky?
I hope so. Dried beef, Pearline, large package.
I don't know.
I don't know what that is. 19 cents.
Sounds like a canned meat.
I guess a 50-cent set of 6 aluminum individual-sized gelatin molds and 6 packages of royal fruit gelatin. So you could make Jell-O,
Gross.
6 individual molds, so you can give everybody a little mold for 59 cents for everything.
Okay, yeah.
Not bad. Now let's get into the meat here.
I don't think that price has changed at all.
No, it's the same
it's the
shit.
same price.
It's the same thing. Some things never go up like that. What comedy clubs pay openers? You think we're kidding?
No.
They pay openers the exact same in 2020 that they used to pay in 1990.
Right.
So, another business where the rate of pay hasn't gone up at all in 30 years? Even if you're on the street, a fucking half and half is going to be more than that. I mean, there's inflation in blowjobs. There's no inflation in... Jesus Christ.
All the people were thrown quarters in the 90s on the freeway off-ramps, and now they're given $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it floats. That and skateboards.
Yeah.
And when I was like 1992, I saw an old ad. They were like $40, and I just bought a board the other day for $43.99. I'm like, not bad. 30 years, $4. It's good stuff. So we have lean plate corned beef for 9 cents. What the fuck? Filet of Fannin? What the shit is that? Finnin. Filet of Finnin. I don't know. 25 cents.
They hadn't called it fish yet. It was Finnin.
Finnin. It's got fins and stuff. Small California hens. Picture them still alive. 27.5 cents. What was this half cents? I don't know.
Up.
Easter's salt pork. 24.5 cents. Mm-hmm. Fresh picked mushrooms, 20 cents a pound. That's a good deal. Sandwich rolls, 2 dozen for a quarter. That's good shit. Heinz dill pickles, 5 for 10 cents. I like that. Not bad at all. And then some box of chocolates for 33 cents as well.
Everything's in cents.
Not so bad. And then if I saw another ad here, there's a couple more that are pretty funny. I saw another ad. You're going to love this. And it says, top of the big letters, it's joy to take this laxative. That's what it says. Huge letters.
That's the headline.
That's the
advertisement.
If the font size, let's say the regular article font size was a 10, this is a 55. It's a fucking huge letters. It's joy to take this laxative. Not joy.
It's
joy.
All the joy.
It's just pure joy to have shit flowing from your asshole at an uncontrollable rate. You're going to love it. The world's easiest. Beecham's, it says, 25 cents and 50 cents cleans out bowels in a night.
Oh.
That sounds like a threat.
25 cents for the regular, 50 cents for ultimate.
Cleans out bowels in a night sounds like a threat.
It does.
Clean out all your bowels in one night. Boy, Jesus. That's like why I don't want to go to prison.
That sounds like you're going to be shitting the bed.
Pouring out of you. Oh, help me as it trails behind you. It says, here it is. Here's the pitch. I love everything back then, too. It wasn't just a thing. It was they had to convince you with a paragraph. Yeah. Quote, children don't mind it a bit. They love shitting their brains out, kids.
Do they mean when they take it or when I take it?
Either way. They don't mind. Small, round, and sugar-coated. Easier to take than most laxatives, and so gentle. Beecham's cleans out the bowels and tends to promote liver and kidney function, thereby stimulating the 3 most important alimentive centers. Wow, that must have been some 20 shit. Kidneys, liver, and your bowels.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Most laxatives work only on 1 or 2. Only on 1 or 2?
What else?
What does that mean?
Oh, okay, got it. One works with your kidney or your liver.
Oh, on one of the two. Oh, yeah. This
one works. All 3.
They should all work your asshole, I would say. We'll add the others to it.
Somehow I took a laxative. It's still hard, but I can piss everywhere.
So weird. Strange. Most laxatives work on only 1 or 2. For good health, you must act on all 3. Results are quick, no headache, no nausea, a clear tongue, and you feel like a new person. Get Beecham's at any drugstore for 100 years, the safe vegetable laxative. 100 years of shitting your brains out.
Do they mean that's how long the business has been going?
100 years.
Or you only need 1 pill and you will shit for
100 years. A century of shitting. You'll never hold anything down again. Also, I found here phonograph radios.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get to, because we always do technology.
These are so good.
This is the only technology there is back then.
These probably went up. These are worth more today.
Yeah, these are expensive for back then, too, here. This is at cost and are going fast. Let's see. They have many wonderful bargains still available. Genuine orthophonic Victrola console model is $135. 12, I guess, I don't know what it is, 12 Victrola cabinet models, never off the floor, $49.50 on sale from $125.
That's the one with the horn, right?
I don't know. That's a phonograph, yeah. They have Edison Laboratory model. Was $295, now $145. This is fucking crazy. $145 Hepplewhite model and 2 Queen Anne model Sonora consoles for $145.
Interesting.
That shit, if you had like those in good condition right now, would be worth so much fucking money. Unbelievable amounts of money. Also, several 5-tube Tonodyne radios are only $65. Okay. Edison records at cost, $1 records are now only 65 cents. $1.50 or 95. $2 records are $1.25. My goodness. Portable phonographs now.
What?
Portable.
How do you take that?
It's not a giant console. It's one you can. It's still heavy as fuck.
That's weird as shit.
It's not like a Discman or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a big giant thing that's not
on your back.
That's not bolted to the ground.
Right.
Was $27.50, now $19.50. Kent Radio Model 20 demonstrator, $50. 5-tube Kennedy radio, Magnavox, new 5-tube built-in speaker, $95. Think about how much $95 was back then. So you could buy a fucking car for like $200 back then. All of these things, other radios, $25. Come on down to Oakland Phonograph Company at 473 12th Street in Oakland. Small down payment, and they'll deliver. So there's that.
So these people wanted like the most high-paid person in America to be the president of the United States. Is that what they wanted?
Yeah, he's the most.
Is that the idea?
Yeah, they're like, how can someone like? Well, they also. You have to think about this too. There was a real difference in education levels of people back then. So, there was plenty of people who finished the 3rd and 4th grade and went and worked on a farm back then. So the people who were college educated journalist types were very hoity-toity.
Got it.
So they looked that's an intellectual.
Yep.
He brought up a professor of psychology only makes this. So he's saying these intellectual, pursuits are worth more money, but this moronic bullshit of some fat guy swinging a bat and having a bunch of drunks cheer is not worth anything, is what he's saying. So he's looking down on the whole culture of anyone being into sports or anything like that.
He's the original asshole from Undisputed.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Skip Bayless.
He's the original
version
dildo.
1.
Yeah, I'm going to write about sports, but hate everything about it.
I'm going to begrudgingly write about something that I wish I had the talent to play.
That would be great if I wasn't such a little pussy douchebag, frosted dildo. Skip Bayless, you fucking jackass.
If I had any sort of talent for any
worse.
sport, I would do it
once a year.
But instead, I'm just going to write bitchingly and complain about it.
Instead, I'm gonna get different shows all the time where I find a different black man to argue with because that's my talent.
And be mad about it.
He knows.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to be a douche.
Yeah.
I'm going to be I'm going to play up my fucking Christianity and my Texanness and all that shit, and then I'm going to argue with black people, and that's going to be the draw of the show. Fuck. So one more ad here. Largest and fastest steamers to New York here. The SS Finland. The SS Finland. So this is if you want to sail from San Francisco or from Oakland to New York.
Okay.
On a boat. Yeah, because there's no. Yeah, you want to go.
You got to go all the way down.
Go down and around.
Panama's not built yet, is it?
I don't think so. You got to go down and around. This is around when they were building.
You got to go down
so.
past South America.
Yeah, this shit is.
Holy shit.
Yeah, largest and fastest steamers to New York via Panama Canal. So this is
so it is open.
I remember it around this time being built. Panama Canal and Havana. So you go around all the way the fuck. That's a trip.
That is.
Fortnightly sailings thereafter. $275 for first class cabin, which is fucking expensive back then. $150 for second and $100 for third, including meals and berth. I don't know what that means. Happy, refreshing days on great ships through the Panama Canal by daylight. An opportunity for sightseeing in gay Havana. Only the gay neighborhood apparently are going to go in. Hey, look at the gays there. Look at there's more of them. Hey, look at them. He's sashaying right in front of that parade. Look at him go.
Let's get out there and smear them all.
All right, see? Somebody throw him a ball. It's not legal unless he has a ball, pal. There he goes. Okay, let's take his head off.
Get him.
So you can do that. You can sail all the way around to New York. So anyway, fighting again. 1927, he fights Joe Roche, who we talked about. Right. That was the fight. He lost in 10 rounds to points. Next fight, he loses again. This is in the Golden Gate Arena in San Francisco. Goes all 10 rounds again.
Oh, no.
Loses on points.
Oh, no.
He fights a guy named Oakland Billy Harms after that. Oakland Billy. Oakland was down 3 times in the 3rd round, and then once in the 4th and once in the 5th. And finally, that 5th round, he's knocked out, and Dell wins that fight. Then he loses 3 in a row. After that, one to a man named Rene. Really? So, I mean, that had to hurt. Rene DeVos.
Oh, boy.
And then Vincent Forgione, he fights twice and loses both times. Once on points and once knocked out. So it's tough going, and those are both in Philly. Then he's going to Tacoma, Washington. Look at him fighting Art Regan, who was making his debut. He needed a win here. The one guy he fought, Rene DeVos, by the way, coming into this fight, 111 wins, 12 losses, 18 draws.
Wow.
So that's a seasoned fighter, man.
She is strong.
She's tough and getting revenge for Jackie Cohen. That's the problem, too. It's like, did you beat Jackie?
Jackie's sister, Renee.
Jackie told me what you did. Fuck no. Let me tell you, you get in that fucking ring, Del. I swear to God, I'm not taking this shit from you, Del. You're not going to hurt her again. Get in that ring.
That was my ex-father-in-law's name, Renee.
Renee? Perfect.
That guy spelled my name wrong constantly.
Do you have a little accenty thing or no? So he beats the shit out of Art Regan to get his mojo back a little bit here. Then he fights a guy twice in a row named Young George Dixon, as opposed to Old George Dixon. Old, here. He wins the first fight, loses the second fight. They both go all 10 rounds.
Oh, my God.
So 20 rounds with this guy, and that was one fight was on October 25th, and the next one was on November 15th. So in less than 3 weeks, they fought each other 20 rounds.
Holy shit, James.
This is so much,
20
man.
rounds in less than a month.
Yeah. Well, this is 1927 was the same thing. In March, he fought the 8th, then he fought March 15th again.
Yeah.
And those were both 10-round fights. He fought 2 10-round fights in a fucking week. His brain is still swollen from the last fight.
I couldn't go a round a day for 10 days.
Think about that.
He's doing 10 in a row.
Think about that, man. Your brain is still fucked up from 10 rounds
still tingling.
A week ago.
Yeah.
And then April 5th, 20 days later, he's fighting again. May 4th, June 6th, July 25th. It's just fucking never stops, man. It's insane. Then he fights on in December of 1927, Walcott Langford here, and he wins this fight. Guess what? Goes all 10 rounds.
Jesus.
So he has his last, let's see, what is that? 7 fights. He has had 5 go the distance, and 1 go 7 out of 10 rounds.
He hasn't felt his fingers since 1923.
Jesus Christ, he hasn't known where he is since 1926. So December 28th, 1927, this is from the Winnipeg Tribune here, a little article here. It says, quote, Mickey Forkins is good boxer. That's the headline. Mickey Forkins is good boxer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That lady from YouTube wrote that.
Yeah, exactly. Very cute, LOL.
He is a good boxer. It is hard to open box.
Hard open box. That's awesome. Oh, shit. So, he's good boxer. Del Fontaine will meet with stiff opposition on January 3rd.
Yeah.
Stiff, watch out. Del Fontaine, claimant of the Canadian middleweight championship, will meet the stiffest kind of opposition when he meets Mickey Forkins of Columbus in the main go of a Jack Consilla's boxing card at the Walker Theater. Forkins, by reports, is a very capable boxer and has met many well-known fighters. Okay. His recent victory over Walcott Langford of Chicago, who extended Fontaine to the limit here recently, stamps him as a real contender for middleweight honors. Fontaine, after his triumph over Langford, has settled down to a steady training and at the present and is in fine shape for his coming battle with the Columbus middleweighter. So that's a one thing that's going on there. Also in December of that year, Babe Ruth does a gym workout.
Oh, yeah?
And there's the press is all there. They're talking about how much he does, how he conditions now. And no, he did not. He was fucking drinking booze while they were talking to him, probably
smoking while he jumps rope.
He just was too good of a hitter. It didn't matter. So they said, quote, there's a possible, they asked him about the record, and he said, quote, there's a possible chance of breaking it again if they keep tossing him at me. Okay. He says that he doesn't think there's that much change in the ball. He said the thing that's helped is throwing so many new ones. Fellas can see him now. This was after the time. Oh. Right about 1920, they changed to where the balls had to be in half decent shape.
Right.
Before that,
can't throw him a dirty one constantly.
Before that, the guys used to get tobacco juice on their hands, rub it into the ball, so you couldn't see the fucking ball. That was what they used to do.
It blends in with the dirt.
That's exactly what they were trying to do.
Coming down a dirt track.
Yep.
If it's brown, you miss it. it.
Exactly. So, or you don't see it quite as good. So now they've done it to where these balls are replaced more often. Yeah. Now that, people are coming to watch baseball here. He's a fella can see him now. Said the boys have nearly all changed their way of hitting now. Used to choke their bats. Yeah. Now they swing from the hips. This is Babe Ruth talking. Only one or two choke hitters left, like Joe Dugan and Dave Bancroft, who were good hitters. He said, quote, no, there wasn't any pitcher that gave me much trouble last season. All looked about alike. I was just hitting them, that's all. And then they asked him about Lou Gehrig, and he said, Lou Gehrig, there's a great kid, always working hard. How funny is it? Like, he was a young guy, Lou Gehrig, then. Yeah. There's a great kid, that Lou Gehrig.
I don't even see him as a kid.
This whippersnapper. Yeah. Lou Gehrig's a great kid. How funny is that? He's got a fucking disease. Great kid. Wow. There's a great kid. I mean, his disease is a piece of shit, but I'll tell you what. I know I've done all I could to help him, and I hope he has another great season. More competition there is, the better. I like it. And then they said, well, how much longer are you going to play? And he says, quote, I don't see why I won't still be going strong at 40. Only be 34 next February. They started counting me out 5 years ago when I kicked up a little fuss. Feel better now than ever. That's what he says. That's the Babe Ruth interview. So there you go. That was the biggest star of the time.
That's it. Oh, boy.
Just talking about it there.
He's not even fun to listen to.
No, he's just
as a dude that's so important to a sport. Who gives a shit what he has to say?
Yeah.
Also, how terrible is it that Lou Gehrig's disease is just as popular name as ALS? You know what I mean?
It is. Lou Gehrig disease.
It's just as represented. Like the first guy that got AIDS, that would be terrible to be like. He died of John Smith's disease.
Yeah, John Smith, Jimmie Whisman disease is terrible.
Jimmie Whisman died of AIDS.
Fucks you up, man.
Jimmie Whisman disease.
Somebody played circle. Gets the square on his butthole, and then there he is.
That's what happens.
He's got a problem.
Got invited over to a YouTube party.
That's what goes on. So yeah, he was a fat bastard. So he goes on anyway. This Del Fontaine here, he's fighting. He fights Mickey Forkins. He beats him in a 10-round fight, and then a month later he fights Red Ulan. Okay, another 10-round fight. He wins.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel. Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
His next 2 after that are both 10-round losses, which are brutal. So 4 fights in a row of all. In 3 months, he has 40 rounds of 4 different fights he's getting pummeled on. He fights a guy named Dave Shade in March of 1928, and he was knocked down in the 4th round. And after that, it ends up going all 10, but it was a unanimous decision for Shade. He beat the shit out of him. He fights a guy named Tuffy Griffiths. Tuffy Griffiths.
That's a fighter?
That's a fighter. He loses to Tuffy in the second round. Gets knocked out. He fights Dick Daniels in 1929 here. Wins first round knockout for Dick Daniels, or for Dell against Dick Daniels.
Wow.
So knocks him out in the first round. He needed a comeback fight because he's been going the distance and losing fights and everything else. Fights Dick Daniels again. Knocks him out in the first round in January of 29, and then 3 weeks later, on February 5th of 1929, he fights Daniels again, and it goes all 10 rounds, and he loses.
Wow!
How do you go from knocking someone out in the first round to all 10 and losing in a month? It's very weird. Fights Tiger Roy Williams, another Tiger, in Flint, and knocks him out in the fourth round. Fights Norman Wilson up in Moose Jaw.
Yeah.
Heading home to Moose Jaw. Don't go home, Dell. Oh, man. TKO in the third round.
He won there.
February 1929 here. Now, there's an article about him that is hilarious. This is trying to be complimentary, but the title of it is, quote, "Not Clever Boxer."
Oh, no.
And it says, quote, "Del Fontaine is not clever." That's the first sentence, period. Del Fontaine is not clever. All right, then. And we go from there. That much the fans should know. However, he makes up for this deficiency by his terrific punching. The punching that put Red Ulan, a one-time favorite here, out of the ring business. Fontaine's hands have a disastrous effect on their targets, and the fact that he can hit equally hard with both hands stamps him as a boxer whom the leaders like to sidestep. He's a guy that's the other thing, too. He's a guy that the top guys don't want to fight, really, because he's a wild man. He's not a guy that you can really figure out, and he's so nuts. He might knock you out in a round and embarrass you and fuck everything up, or you might be able to just pummel him for 10. Who knows? But it's going to be an adventure.
He's not clever, though.
He's not clever. But they said, quote, "The Canadian has it," and they put in quotes, "it." The Canadian has it, and plenty of it. To prove this, it might be cited that he fought 17 consecutive main go events in Portland, Oregon. So 17 consecutive main event things. So it's pretty good. Anyone who can do this in the ring has color. In Chicago, he is known as Kid Dynamite, and the string of victories he has chalked up in the Windy City would do credit to a champion.
Better calm down with that phrase.
So yeah, and
give it a few more years, because you're about to see a Kid Dynamite for sure.
No shit. So that's pretty funny, though, that they in Chicago he's known as this, because everything was localized.
Yeah.
There wasn't any national thing. It wasn't like the internet. It wasn't like, hey, I read online that I read in that Reddit sub that they call him fucking,
Also, Chicago might not be getting all the guys that San Francisco is getting.
No, they're not. Yeah. They're not. They're separate circuits completely, except for the top guys. He says, quote, "Del Fontaine came out of the North with everything to win and nothing to lose. In fact, there were those who thought that the Canadian title would be more of a detriment than an aid. However, the Winnipeg fighter is not the type to rest on his laurels. He did not hold his crown in front of the promoters and demand exorbitant purses. Instead, he went into the ring and proved his worth, as many of his victims can tell. Red Ulan was a comer in the squared circle. He landed in Chicago after a good crusade on the Pacific coast." He's a comer in the circle.
That's hot.
Yikes. He's going to come in your circle. He was going along in fine shape until he bumped into Del Fontaine.
He's going to square gets the circle.
Oh, he's going to circle gets the square. The Canadian did knock him out. Did not knock him out, but he hammered him so unmercifully so much that shortly afterwards Ulan gave up fighting. They're saying he's just a tough guy. Humbled him into quitting. Here's a fight. This is from the 4th of July, 1929, the Leader Post in Saskatchewan. They say Moose Jaw battler disqualified for holding in third round in about 1,500 to 10. Says, howls of disapproval went up from the 1,500 throats in the stadium ring tonight when Del Fontaine, Winnipeg boxer, was given the decision over Norman Kid Wilson of Moose Jaw in a slated 10-round main bout. Referee Pete Cleland of Regina warned Wilson in the second and third rounds about his not breaking, and the decision was given for holding. The fight in the first 2 rounds gave promise of providing some real fistic entertainment. Fistic entertainment? Yeah. Whoa. That is, I feel like there's a whole sex industry that hasn't realized that's a word. Fistic entertainment, I feel like, is a whole subcategory of something, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're going to call it. So Pornhub's going to have fistic entertainment category, I'm sure, from now on.
Whoever founded Regina, didn't they at least go, too close? No, we can't do it.
Within 2 sentences, the words Regina and fistic are both here. I can't have
They're
this.
right there.
I'm sorry. As a comedian, I have to say something about that.
Yeah.
And as a 12-year-old in a grown man's body, I really have to say something about Regina and fistic in the same sentence. Fistic entertainment.
That's
I've
awesome.
never heard that term ever.
I didn't even know that was a word.
Neither did I. That's why I was like, was that say? It says fistic. Fistic entertainment for the fans, and hundreds were disappointed when it came to its abrupt ending. Wilson was given a slight edge in the first, and Fontaine a similar edge in the second. Fontaine held the edge until the fight until the third, when the referee gave his decision just a few seconds before the bell. He goes on to fight in Flint a bunch of times, and in Portland a whole bunch, in Seattle. Fights Lou Scusa 3 times.
What?
Louis Scusa. Scusa. Scoszza.
You can't put those so close together.
It's a Lou Scusa.
It sounds like what you're calling.
Yeah, I get you.
It's real loose. You see what I'm saying?
It's a loose scusa. You're a Regina. You must do too much of fisting entertainment for you. That's why. Too much of fistic entertainment for you, and you get a loose scusa in your Regina. You know what I mean? A loose scusa in your Regina, Pat. That's how it works. No? See? Oh, Christ. He loses 2 in a row to Lou Scusa. To a Lou Scusa. Charles Risco, he fights. Draw with him, all 10 rounds. These are all 10-round fights, by the way. Draw with Pete Serkin. Young Firpo, he fights. Young Firpo. We'll talk about who Young Firpo really is in a second here. He fights him twice. Once at the Crystal Pool in Seattle.
That's a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, that's totally Young Firpo. Young Firpo, motherfucker. All right, Young Firpo.
Yeah.
This is from February 22nd, 1930, from the Missoula in Montana. This is... Young Firpo's not his real name.
No.
Flaming youth in the person of Young Firpo. Flaming youth.
My Christ.
Going right through Gay Havana like nobody's business. He's taking that steamer through Gay Havana to get some fistic Regina hopping. Right? Am I wrong here? It's Lou Scusa. What do you want?
This is the problem.
It's 2 Lou Scusa. What are you supposed to do? You got to take a fistic trip with flaming youths through Gay Havana. What the fuck?
This is why Stanford educated journalism fails every time, because we're gonna fucking ruin it.
This is hilarious because we're a land of morons, as he said, and that's us. So, yeah, this is why we say listen to, like, the boxing parts of it, because this is what the boxing parts ridiculous. Are. Young flaming youth in the person of Young Firpo, alias Guido Bardelli.
That's his first name?
That's his real name.
Wow.
Guido Bardelli, and they don't want to put that on a marquee because they're like, that's a little too much, right?
Can't put Guido and Deli.
Guido Bardelli? That's a little too much.
They're going to think there's cheese plates for sale.
They're going to fuck. In Montana, they're going to kill him. It's one thing to be Italian, but you can't be like Guido Bardelli. Right. They're they're gonna make him do mining work. Fucking stuff him in a mine if we put him out there. You know, get that filthy guinea and put him in a mine.
Forced labor.
See, I just want to fight. What are you doing? Check his pasta. Check his pockets. See what kind of pasta's in there. See if he's got any relatives in town.
Stolen squirrel pelts.
Squeeze him on down the hole.
And convict him of theft.
Alias Guido Bardelli won from Del Fontaine, veteran and clever boxer. Now they say he's clever.
Yeah.
What the? I thought he's not fucking clever. Del Fontaine is not clever. Was the first fucking line of that one guy, and this guy says he's clever. So you know what? You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, clever boxer at Portland the other night. Early in the bout, Fontaine connected for a knockdown and then punched Firpo while he was down. but the Italian refused to take the fight on a foul and came back milling viciously. He spilled Fontaine later in the bout and took the decision handily. He pissed off young Firpo, and he wasn't taking that shit. Next, he fights a Mickey Walker, Johnny Wagner. Yeah. These sound like made-up names that people would put in a script about old boxers. Hey, you're fighting Johnny Walker, Johnny Wagner, and then Al Settle and George Pavlik and Mickey Walker and K.O. White. That's a cool name.
That's a bitchin' name.
Yeah, K.O. White. Well, he beats K.O. in 10 rounds. K.O. White. Ray Tremblay. Ray Tremblay. He loses in 10 rounds. Tiger Roy Williams again. Loses that by TKO in the third. Then he runs off 3 in a row. Ray Tremblay he beats in a decision. He beats Charlie Arthurs in a decision. And he beats Jack Elkhart in a decision. So many rounds. How many times has he been punched in the head, do you think, for all this?
You can't count those.
No, and there's
no way to put a tally on that.
It's insane.
What do you average? What's an average, you think? Today, it's like...
Oh, Christ.
200, 300?
For him, though, he's dropping bombs. I mean, he's just throwing punches. So for him, he's getting hit a lot. He's leading with his head.
Right.
He's the type of guy, for every 2 he lands, he's taking 5.
Right.
So that's just his style. He's a Marciano
and
type.
And it depends, too, on the type of fight, because you got lightweight, they're hitting more than
the middleweight, where they can still knock the fuck out of each other, but they're also fast. So that's a dangerous place to fight.
Horrifying.
So all these fights were in one in St. Paul, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Detroit, Davenport, Indy, Clinton, all these different U.S. Milwaukee. He fights Ray Tremblay again and loses. But in early 1931, he decides that he's had enough of the U.S. and he's going to take a cattle boat over to the UK.
What?
Taking a cattle boat to England to further his boxing career.
He's hiring the Indian to ford the ocean?
Pretty much. Ford the ocean in the Oregon Trail.
Right.
That's it there. Should I ferry it across? No, I don't think so.
Let's ford it.
Let's ford it. Yeah, we'll do that. Cattle boat. So we don't need to hire anyone to ford. You just ford.
Is that what you just did it yourself?
You could either ford the river
for the ferry.
Yeah, you could either ford the river. You could try to float the fucker across yourself, or you could hire the Indian to help, and they would ferry you across because they had better boats.
I combined 2 options.
You made it.
Hiring the Indian to ford it.
To kill all your oxen. It'd be like
it never made it.
There'd be wheels floating in the fucking river. It's terrible.
Ford never made it.
No, it never worked. It would have to be like 1 foot deep, or else it's not going to work.
It's such a gamble.
So cattle boat over to the UK here, where he's going to do his thing. He does a couple of fights in Saskatoon, one in Winnipeg first, just to get it up a little bit. He beats Ted Moore and Al Conquest.
Oh,
Al Conquest.
Yeah,
it's a hell of a name for it.
It's a first porn star.
Yeah, Al Conquest. So I'm going to box a little.
There were 2. There was Dick Daniels and Al Conquest.
And Al Conquest. Yeah, they got their very fistic fight. It's a very fistic affair, this one. Fistic as shit. So then he goes over and he starts fighting in England. Now, he's a big deal when he gets there because he's like this exciting fighter who's they've heard of and read about, but he's never been over there. And back then, if they didn't come and you watched them live, you didn't see them. That was it. So if you wanted to see someone, you had to buy a ticket. So he fights, his first fight in England is in Royal Albert Hall, which is a huge deal. I mean, that's still a huge deal. And he fights Fred Smith.
Who is not a big deal.
Not a big deal. 5'6" fighter, and he knocks Fred Smith out in the third round, and he really, that cements him in England. They love him over there. Royal Albert Hall is his next fight. 2 weeks later, he fights again, fights Jeff Bridle in Royal Albert Hall, knocks him out in the first round.
Wow.
So they're liking him over there. Then he fights Archie Sexton on May 11th, 1932 in Royal Albert Hall. Archie Sexton's record coming in, 114, 18, and 18. So
not good.
He's been through 114 wins.
Oh, that's 114.
114 wins, 18 losses, 18 draws. Pretty good. Pretty good. A tough son of a bitch anyway. So that is May March 11th, I have the newspaper from that. Del Fontaine loses to Britain, it says. Del Fontaine, middleweight, heavyweight last night was outpointed by Archie Sexton. Sexton showed himself a smarter boxer. Is he smart or not, guys? Which one?
Is he clever or not?
He's not clever.
No.
And much heavier hitter than the Canadian. Fontaine fought defensively most of the way and managed to stop all the Britain's efforts at a knockout, although he had difficulty in keeping away from the volley of lefts and rights to his jaw, which shook him up. So there's that. Yeah. He loses over there to Archie Sexton. This is really, he picks it up here, and then his career really fucking falls off for a while here. We'll burn through a couple of these quick. He wins a shitload in a row here. He beats a guy named Billy Bird.
Yeah.
These are all in England, by the way. He's just over there now. Knocks him out in the third round. Knocks out George Brown in the third round. Knocks out Alf Newbigin.
Yeah.
Alf Newbigin. Just like that. Alf Newbigin.
Okay.
Knocks him out in the seventh round. Leo Wax, he knocks out. Seaman Albert Harvey.
Oh, the poor bastard.
Well, I mean, because he's probably in the Navy, but
right.
don't put Seaman in your name.
Not in the first name.
Not in the first. Seaman Albert.
Oh, boy.
Jesus Christ. This goes all 15 rounds, and Dell wins on points. Barry Keysweater. Okay. Seaman Albert Harvey's back again. Yeah. They have a no contest on this one. We don't know what happened. There's no details. Right. Let's see here. Billy Thomas, he beats up, knocks him out in the second. Les Ward, Harry Mason, Leo Evans, Gypsy Daniels, which I love here.
That sounds like a porn star,
He beats up Gypsy Daniels here. Fucking
woman.
15 of 15 rounds.
Yeah.
Come here, Gypsy. Jack Hyams, he beats here, loses to Jack Kid Casey, but then he comes back and beats Ted Mason. My goodness. Loses a couple more fights here. Now, by the way, through all this, his personal life a little bit, he has a wife and 3 kids.
Really?
In Canada.
Wow.
So he's barely seen them.
Halfway around the world.
At all. He just moved to England.
Yeah.
I mean, and back then...
he's there for good.
Well, he's
Took
fighting.
residency.
I just did a year and a half worth of flights. So his family lives there.
He's got a family.
And they stay there. He doesn't at all... They don't join him. They don't, it's just that back then, Dad's out making a living.
Right. Dad's off to war.
He might be back in 2 years. Who knows? And the kids were like, okay. I mean, that was that. So he left them in Canada when he was traveling around the States even.
Wow.
So he was never around the kids. So
I can relate.
It's weird. It's at this point he likes to go out. When he goes to England, he likes to go out. He likes to drink a lot.
Yeah.
He likes to party.
Yeah.
He likes the young ladies too. He likes to carouse.
Yeah.
He's a famous guy.
Go get it.
They know who he is. He's got a little thing here. He's kind of famous. He's going to go around. He's going to meet some ladies. He meets one that he especially fancies. Oh, yeah. He meets a 21-year-old, 10 years younger than him here. 21-year-old named Hilda Meeks. Ooh, Hilda.
Yeah.
Hilda.
Oh, Hildy.
You know it, Hilda.
Yeah.
Hilda Meeks, who is living. She's a British girl. She's from Bristol, and she's a waitress on the West End there. So that's her job that she does. She wants to be a professional dancer someday.
Right.
That's her goal.
Not ballet, James.
No. Well, not stripping either.
No?
That was I think
burlesque, like
show dancing.
Okay.
I think more like
the Rockettes?
like Broadway dancing is what she was talking about. I
could get into it.
Musicals, shit like that.
I figure that she's just got her goals set real low. One day I want to be a stripper.
Someday I'm gonna take my clothes off while people throw $1 at me. One day
I want that girl.
One day I want a man who I would never give the time of day to tell me what my pussy's worth. One day. To him, anyway, obviously.
To him, and then
the rest of the world has a different value on everything.
He will assume what his patrons will pay based on his educated guess.
No. So her friends all described her as very, she liked to hang out, she liked to have fun. They described her as flighty. Everybody called her flighty.
You mean 21?
21, exactly. 21 seems like one of these chicks in one of these romantic comedy movies who's got shit everywhere.
Right.
She meets a stiff guy and she's like, loosen up, dude. And He's like, I don't know what it is. I just love her. I hate everything she does. Makes me totally uncomfortable, and she burned my house down, but I just like her. I don't know. I just love her. I'll follow her into hell and destroy my whole life for her.
Lost half my 401k because of her, but she's amazing.
Something about her. Her spirit's amazing.
She lives just for today.
Yeah. No. That's not how life works.
Not thinking about tomorrow. That's what it's about.
Good God.
Jesus. Don't you like to eat, sir?
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Jesus. So this, while this is going on, he meets her and he's hanging out with her, and this becomes sort of it's like a 2-year relationship after a while of basically him having an affair with some 21-year-old for a couple of years. Yeah. It's not cool at all. So he does all this. He's over there. His wife doesn't have any idea. It's not like someone's going to, post it on Instagram or something. They don't know. Unless somebody sends her a letter that has to go around the Panama Canal through gay Havana to fucking get there.
Right.
Who knows? You'll never hear Havana not called gay again. Never. I won't anyway.
Yeah, if I ever get a letter from there, I'll know that it's full of glitter.
I know it's, Oh, don't open. It's glitter.
It's just glitter.
So Dell gets a little bit, she likes to have fun, and it's like, it's exclusive, this relationship, but she's also 21 and likes to hang out, and she's not like real committed to him. But
this is exciting to her.
Yeah, he really likes her, and he's very much obsessed with her in terms of, that's his girl, even though he's married and has 3 kids.
Right.
So very interesting. So while this is all going on, he continues to fight over there. He fights through 1933, January, February, again in February. He's fighting a lot. He fights Willie Snowy Unwin. His last name is Unwin.
What?
You can't, no.
UNWIN?
Yes.
That's lose.
You cannot.
Your last name is lose.
Unwin as your name. As any sporting person at all.
What the fuck?
Unwin.
Anybody that competes in anything.
Yeah.
You better change your last name.
No. That's like the old relief pitcher named David Risky. I was like, well, that's not going to work. You don't want him coming in the 8th. So Unwin, apparently. Unwin was 24-5-1 coming in, though. So he had Unwin only 5 of them. He had only 5 unwins.
That's not bad.
I'm not going to call them losses anymore, just unwins. He then so he beats Unwin in 15 rounds, and then he fights Unwin again a month later, less than a month later, 3 weeks later, and it's a draw in 12 rounds. Okay. So he fights 27 rounds in 3 weeks with this guy.
Good Lord.
Which is fucking crazy. He fights Charlie McDonald, knocks him out. George Brown, he fights twice and draws both times. 27 rounds of draws in 3 weeks.
Ouch.
Nothing accomplished.
Nothing.
27 rounds in 3 weeks and not a fucking thing accomplished. No one cares. Fights Ted Mason here, who seems like a good fighter, 53-23. TKOs him. Jack Hymas, he loses by disqualification in the 13th round.
Jesus. Good Lord.
Christ, just fight the rest of the way. Alf Luxton. Alf is a popular name back then. I don't know why Alf is. Who the fuck would name their kid Alf? But
people named him Alfred.
Lots of people. Well, there's worse names coming up, as we'll talk about here. Jack Marshall, he fights and wins in a TKO. He fights Seaman Harry Rolls, another Seaman. Fights him, knocks him out. Fights Laurie Raiteri. So he's beating up Laurie. He's beating up poor Renee. And he's beating up poor little Jackie got it earlier. Now Laurie.
They were very progressive back then when it came to boxing.
I would say. And Laurie, I give her credit. She did made it into the second round.
Yeah.
So Laurie lasted a whole round of this flurry here. Not too shabby. Knocks out poor Laurie. Fights Bob Carville here. Wins there in 15 rounds. All these are 15 rounds after this. Loses to Eddie Pierce. Loses to Eddie McGuire. 15 rounds. Loses to Al Bork. That's a 13-round TKO. Beats Ernie Red Pullen. Okay. And 12 rounds, though. Then he fights Adolf Witt. It's probably Witt, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Fights him in Germany. Adolf Witt. Wow, 34, too. This is... To go to Germany in 34, things were starting to get weird.
Yeah.
Not even starting to get weird. They had been weird for a while, but they were noticeably weird now. Probably we're like, oh, this is really getting weird.
And fighting a man named Adolf.
Yeah, it's what I mean. Adolf Witt. He loses to Adolf on points in 10 rounds. fights Eddie Maguire, Ernie Simmons, Jose Martinez de Alfara. Huh. Oh boy, I assume he's from Spain over there probably. All of these are 15-round fights. We're going to go through a little thing here. Adolf Witt loses. Well, he lost 3 in a row, then won 1. Then loses to Witt, then loses again in 15 rounds to Eddie Maguire, has a draw in 12 rounds, loses a 10-round fight, loses another 12-round fight. Then he fights Manuel Kid Abreu, gets knocked out. Then he gets knocked out again by Jack Strongbow. Seaman Joe Wakeling, everyone's just Seaman, loses in 12 rounds to him.
I mean, that's a fact.
It's true.
We're all just Seaman.
We're all Seaman. Let me count this up, Jimmy.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 20 out of 22 fights, his last 22 fights, he won 3 of them.
Ouch.
And drew twice.
Whoa.
And
17 losses.
And most of them went the distance.
Yeah.
And these last ones, too, everybody said he did not seem like himself.
No.
In the ring. He was slower.
Yeah.
And he was just getting pummeled, basically.
He's dying.
He was getting paid to go in the ring as his name. He has name value of he's an exciting fighter, but he wasn't anymore. He was trying to survive to get his payday, basically.
He's Muhammad Ali
He's getting
the end.
Pummeled, absolutely. So finally, he fights Tommy Farr as his last fight here. Tommy Farr, who's a 48, 23, and 17 fighter, and loses on points to him. His career record is 54, 39, and 9, his official career record, but then there's other ones where there's more fights. So we could never really tell how many fights this guy had back then.
That's enough.
That's enough. It's over 100. So he is fucked here. He's got his girlfriend that he's hanging out with, but he is everybody says he's punch drunk. That's the phrase of the day. He's got CTE like a motherfucker. He's not doing well in the head. He's wandering around, wondering what the fuck he's going to do with his life at this point. What do you do? He doesn't know what to do.
No.
So he's just wandering around. He's going through one neighborhood one day, and a limo pulls up next to him, and he's like, what the fuck is this? Back then, you didn't see a lot of limousines.
No.
It's like Al Capone had a limousine, and like that was it. So a limo pulls up next to him, and he's very surprised. A man jumps out. Dell jumps back like he's going to get punched in the face, but he's not going to get punched in the face because it's Vince McMahon, chairman and CEO of the WWE, and he says... How is it you've come to arrive here, you beautiful son of a bitch? Look at you. I've been following you, don't worry. Oh, yeah. I followed you all the way through Gay Havana. You know I did. You know what? Dexter, don't say a fucking word. Dexter, get back in the car.
He would be so young.
I'll tell you what. Oh, no. I saw you. I saw the vascularity as you went through Gay Havana, right up your vagina.
Yeah.
I saw it all. It was Tulu Scusa. I need a fistic young man. That's what I need. I need a young man who's fistic. Vascular and fistic. That's what I'm looking for. Get that shirt off. That's what I'm talking about. There we go. Let me ask you a question. I know you're from the middle of nowhere. Do you have any aversion to overalls by any chance? No? Oh, this is going to work out beautifully. Come on in my limo, young man. And then poof. In a poof of 1099s and brain damage.
Unbelievable.
He's gone. And Dell's in the limo with him. Go and have a nice life together and get more brain damage. So
forget how disgusting that man is.
Look at you.
Yeah.
So July 11th, 1935 comes along. His last fight was less than a year ago. He's still seeing Hilda.
Yeah.
Still seeing her, unbeknownst to his wife.
Right.
But his wife's going to find out here because one night, he is over her house. Now, she lives with her mom and dad.
He's at Hilda's house.
He's at Hilda's house. She lives with her mom and dad. She's young, and, he goes over there all the time. They know him very well. One night, they're over there, and he overheard her on the telephone in another room making a date with another man.
Oh.
So, he was upset about that. Obviously,
right,
and he ends up pulling out a gun and shooting her.
What?
He shoots Hilda. He shoots her as she runs out into the street away from him. He follows her out and shoots her more.
Oh, my God.
Guns are down in the street. Yeah. Hilda falls dead in the street. Okay.
At her parents' house.
At her parents' house.
Yeah.
And her parents, outside her parents' front yard. Speaking of her parents, her mom is home. Her mom hears this commotion and comes out to see what's going on.
Holding
comes
her
into
gun.
the living room. No, just to go, what's going on? And Dell starts firing at her as well.
My God.
And shoots Hilda's mom as well. She falls down. He assumes she's dead too.
Right.
So he's standing there, doesn't know what to do. He eventually goes out in the street and picks Hilda up and starts carrying her back in the house just in time for Dad to come home.
Oh, boy.
And see this scene unfold before him. He came home. And he's carrying the daughter in the house, and he said, what the fuck's going on? In the most polite and English way possible, I'm sure.
What in the hell? What in the Sam Hill?
Dell told him, quote, "I've done for her and I've done for the old woman," he said.
My wife?
Killed them both. Yeah, your wife, the old woman, who's probably 43.
Right.
This girl's 21 years old.
She's your age, Dell.
Yeah, she's barely older than you. She was a senior when you were a freshman. It's really not a big deal. The old woman. So he thought he killed both the women, and the father said, can you give me the gun? Because I'm sure don't shoot me or yourself or hurt anybody else. So he asked for the gun, and Dell says, sure. And he goes to give it to him. Then he stops and he says, no, I'll give it to the officers when they get here. I'll hold it and give it to them. They'll want it more than you. So I'll just wait for them. You're going to have to give it to them. So why have a middleman? I'll just give it to them.
You don't want your fingerprints on this.
Jesus Christ.
What's been done with this thing?
Efficiency. Yeah, you don't want your fingerprints. Efficiency. Jesus, what are you, fistic or something? So, down at the police station, they come and get Dell, and Dell waits for the police. He goes.
What a bizarre afternoon for that dad.
He goes without a fight or without a yell. He says, "Oh, I did this, and take me to jail." That's it. I mean, he's like just waiting there.
Okay.
Goes in calmly and whatever. He says that Dell said once he gets to the police station, quote, "I shot the girl I really cared for. She has broken my heart and ruined my life. I don't care if I die. Don't think I'm crazy, boys, because I'm not." That's what he tells the cops. Then he says she was supposed to be mine. You know what? Let's do an in their own words about Dell. God damn it. Let's get Dell into this. Let's let him have his say. In their own words, quote, "She was supposed to be mine, but I heard her on the telephone making an appointment for 10 o'clock after I would be out. She's ruined my life, home, and children. She had her fortune told by a gypsy who said she would be murdered in 3 years. I said, by God, no, and I did not think I would be the one to do it."
I mean, you don't.
So the gypsy was right.
You don't have to be.
Lesson here, listen to gypsies.
Right.
They can see the future, I guess. Well, that's a pretty good call, though. A young girl be murdered.
I didn't know it would be me.
I mean, that's what exactly was said. I did not think I would be the one to do it. Well, clearly not.
Unreal.
So that's a good in their own words. A gypsy. Then he says, quote, "I heard her name, the appointment, and I shouted in the telephone. She's not going to meet you anywhere," is what he said. He shouted at the guy. And Hilda shouted, "Yes, I will." I told her she was going to stay with me. Then her mother came into the room. I said to Hilda, I'll shoot you before I let you go out with anyone else. And Hilda replied, "You wouldn't do that." And that was the last thing.
A gypsy said I would.
Between his brain damage and this gypsy, we should really take all threats seriously at this point, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if for nothing else, listen to the gypsy. So July 20th, 1935 is when his trial starts. And it's in England, and this is a big thing. I mean, he's like a famous guy, kind of. He's a fighter, and it's also a big deal because everywhere is calling him punch drunk, and he's punch drunk, and he's punch drunk, and he is. The guy's his brain is mush.
Clearly,
you heard the amount of fighting he did back then.
James, he believed a gypsy.
She was right. So
it's been foretold.
It's been foretold. Now we find a little bit more out in this trial. From this, we find a little bit more about the crime from the trial. The prosecution introduces a letter in the trial that Dell had written here, and it was a letter he wrote to her. And they call, this is a great, by the way, quote from the paper. A tale of jealousy and reproach was told by counsel for the prosecution as Del Fontaine, Winnipeg boxer, appeared for his preliminary hearing for the police court charged with the murder of Hilda Meeks and the attempted murder of Mrs. Alice Meeks, the girl's mother.
She didn't die.
She didn't die. She ended up living, the mother. She ended up living. Now, the prosecution introduced a letter found on Fontaine that was addressed to Hilda here when he was arrested. Now, let's see here. Oh boy. She's mad at he's mad at her. Tells her that she turned him against the most wonderful woman in the world, meaning his wife, ruined his life, ruined his future in the ring, saying he was no longer a popular boxer. And we'll get the whole thing here. Extracts from the letter. Quote, "You've wrecked my life and turned me against everybody. You've turned me against the most wonderful woman in the world. That's my wife. You've ruined my life and my fortune in the ring. I cannot fight anymore. You are not going to break any more hearts. You'll die with me."
Wow.
That's what he said. You'll die with me. So, it seems like he, maybe
planned this out.
Also, sounds like he thought that he was going to kill himself. He then says, you said you wanted me to die with you, but you are going to die with me for a change, is what he says. That's the last line of it. So yeah, that sounds not great. The man on the phone testified that Dell shouted into the telephone, "She is not going to meet you anywhere," and the girl herself shouted, "I shall," before it hung up. So that's how that happened. Wow. He said, quote, "I shot the girl. I really cared for her, but she has broken my heart and ruined my life. I don't care if I die. Don't think me crazy." That's what he said about the whole thing. So he's clearly fucking out of it. I mean, clearly he's got problems. He shouldn't have shot anybody, but I don't think he knows where the fuck he is half the time, this guy.
I think it's a mess.
I think he's a goddamn mess, probably. So a man testifies, and a retired boxer testifies, Ted Lewis. He testifies in his on Dell's behalf, because the only thing Dell has is insanity. It's the only thing he can plead, because... he's obviously admitted to what he did. This man says, quote, "Dell shouldn't have been in the ring at all for his last fight. He wasn't in a fit state. As a boxer, he's received more punishment than anyone I have ever seen." Also, the house doctor at the venue said that in 1935, the fighter complained of double vision, sleepiness, and not being able to walk straight while he was still fighting.
Oh, my God.
That's like in between fights, he feels like that. He's got hardcore brain damage.
Oh boy.
And I don't know how this Hilda woman didn't see it. I feel bad for her because she was just trying to have fun, and this, hey, this is an exciting guy, young girl, who knows here. Her father also testified, Sam Meek here. They questioned him about what he thought about Dell's mental health. And they said, quote, "Do you realize that he was knocked out 7 times recently?" That's a lot. And the father said, quote, "I don't know about knockouts. The last one seemed to me more like a lie down." So he said, "I don't know about getting knocked out, but he throws his fights or he gives up or whatever." So just to kind of put him in a little more shade here. Now, so the verdict, they find him guilty.
Yeah.
He's guilty of murder. We'll get to the sentencing in a moment here. He's guilty of murder. This is bad for everybody. Yeah. First of all, I feel terrible for his wife and kids.
Of course.
Imagine, you're over there in Winnipeg. He's trying to make a living for you to send money back and stuff. You're hoping he's doing well. You not only find out he's in jail for murder, but he's been having an affair with some young girl that you don't fucking know about. And and
it doesn't matter anyway, because now she's dead.
Now she's dead, and he's got brain damage, and the whole thing's a fucking disaster. Right. So they're terrible. This poor Hilda girl was just a 21-year-old girl trying to have some fun and meet some people. I feel bad for poor Sam. He's had his daughter killed and his wife shot. Right. This is all bad shit. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. Yeah. But not nearly as bad as I feel for Raymond Busquet, vice president at Merrill in Greater Boston. He went to Boston University. Raymond Busquet, CM at Bond Clinic, Pennsylvania, or PA. I don't know what that is. What's CM? I don't know what that is. Oh, certified medical assistant.
Oh.
Look at him in the Atlanta metro area. He says he's looking for an entry-level position. Someone hire old Raymond.
Oh,
don't let his name.
Don't get in there yet, Raymond. Wait for this virus to burn out.
Shit. Raymond Busquet, national sales manager at Pellicorp Corporation in Iowa. Raymond Bisquette, partner at Metro Crime Prevention in Shrewsbury, Mass.
Well, he's probably not a murderer.
Probably not. And Del Fontaine, operations manager up in Red Deer County in Alberta, Canada.
And boy, can he sing.
And also, if you look this up, you get a lot of the De La Fontaine Company.
What?
It's DE space LA Fontaine Company, because Del Fontaine with an A in there. No, they actually make design and manufacturing of steel doors and frames.
Really?
They say quality products, reliable service, and 2-week delivery. This combination, it's this combination that makes us a true partner.
Yeah, but are they like the brothers from Money Pit? 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2
yeah,
weeks.
It's the
Everything's
God, I love
2
that.
weeks.
She's good looking wool. Honey, you just said you were good looking wool. I just said you were good looking wool. I don't know.
I don't know why you're so upset.
Why you're so upset? I said you were good looking wool. I mean, I love that
2
fucking
weeks.
movie so much.
It's really, really good.
Oh, it's underrated as fuck. Tom Hanks is just wonderful in comedy. So,
you know, the only thing, never mind. It's so fucking horrible to say, but the 80s, a time that they tried to force Shelley Long and her lack of sex appeal down our throats.
Yeah, they did. But yeah.
The best movie she was in was that goddamn Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, yeah.
Because then it was like you see her as a mom and like clearly out of her sexual prime, and it's fine.
Well, she was popular on Cheers, where she wasn't supposed to be like a sex symbol.
Right.
She was like the opposite of that. Sam was like so that made sense. And then they put her in movies.
But then they put her in Money Pit, where she's like supposed to be sought after, and it's like, at least convince
it's
me.
only sought after by her ex-husband and Tom Hanks.
But then
and she is super pretentious in the movie too. She's supposed to be.
But two people fighting over her has never
happened. I'm not attracted to Shelley Long. No, other than Sam Malone and Fraser Crane. No, that's never happened, Danny. To Shelley Long ever.
Two people never fought over her in her life.
Absolutely not.
If I came to you and I was like, "This is my girlfriend Shelley," and you're like, "Oh, I had her number," I was kind of, go ahead. Give
you're
it a
all
shot.
right. You're good. You know what? That's all you.
Give it a run, bud.
That's you, Chief. You give it a whirl.
That's how Shelley's life has been her whole life. I guarantee it.
So all of these poor people, obviously, and Dell needs to be sentenced now.
Okay.
And there's several sentences that he could get here. And the judge, I wish I had what the judge says, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But the judge definitely at some point says, "You, sir, may fuck off."
Yeah.
Death by hanging.
Get out of here.
They're going to hang Dell for this
Holy
shit.
shit.
Now, they tried.
You gun a young girl down in the street and you get hanged.
And her mom, you're getting
awesome.
hanged. Now, they tried to, like I said, everyone in the boxing industry and all these people, doctors tried to get them to not hang him based on the fact that he's a fucking, his brain is pudding.
Obviously.
He has tapioca in his head.
They've never heard of CTE, though.
No, that's this as well. But they knew punch drunk, but they were like, oh, so what? Punch drunk. They didn't realize that meant his brain. Not that it matters anyway. He fucking killed a person, so who cares? But
tell me what the E is of CTE.
Yeah.
Go ahead, try to pronounce that shit. Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. There you go. So that's October 15th, 1935. He has an appeal. It's an appeal. It's a lot of people appealing. He has like his own people on his behalf appealing for him based on his mental state. There's people that are anti-capital punishment people from back then that are appealing hard on his behalf. It's a lot here. It goes all the way to Home Secretary Sir John Simon gets to make the decision here. And he rejects an appeal for reprieve. This is from the National Union of Boxers. The members of the union asserted that they knew before Dell killed Hilda that he had behaved abnormally owing to a condition of punch drunkenness. They said, look, the last few fights we didn't even know who he was. He was a completely different person. So he's going to hang, which, I mean, honestly, fuck, man, he's going to hang in England. That's some old-timey shit. That's pretty crazy. It's wild. But not nearly as crazy, Jimmy, as the sales. It's 1935. We need more sales. Right. If you happen to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1935.
Is that where they're going to hang him?
No. That's where we're going to look at sales. That's where I was reading this in the paper.
I want England to hang people.
They're going to hang them over there. Yeah, no. We're sending them over to St. Cloud to... No. So, If you happen to be there for $4.85 down, you can get a new lattice-backed super value suit.
Oh.
Lattice-backed.
What does that mean? Like,
fucking beats. This is the picture of it.
What does that mean? You can like grow.
I think there's like a belt thing in the back.
You can grow ivy on your back.
Maybe. It's 1985 smart all wool garments for school, business, for sport, for dress. Newest fall fabrics and winter fabrics, patterns and shades. Mm-hmm. Oh, baby. Models for conservative dressers. The tailing is superb. Pleated slacks, $2.85 a pair. Not too shabby. But there's a lot more down here. There's movies to see. You can see, what the fuck is this? World something. Oh, I don't know what the fuck this even says. You can get Tums. Yeah. There's a Tums antacid this week. Your druggists, what the fuck does this say? With the purchase of a 10-cent roll, you get a five color 1935, 1936 calendar thermometer with the purchase of a 10-cent roll of Tums.
A calendar thermometer?
I don't know how that works.
How does that work?
I don't know.
You can take your calendar's
temperature. I got a thermometer built into it. Also, here's one. It says Modern Women.
Oh.
So it's for you ladies. This is for Chichester's Pills, the Diamond brand.
Yeah.
Modern women need not suffer monthly pain and delay due to colds, nervous strain, exposure, or similar causes. Diamond brand pills are effective and reliable and give quick relief. I don't know.
They give you.
I think it's period stuff, but they couldn't say it back then. Yeah,
they say the once a month part. You know what we mean.
Yeah. You could go see Spitfire with Katharine Hepburn. It's playing at the for 10 cents down at the theater. You can go see The Thin Man, which is a very famous piece of cinema there with William Powell. You can go see Hell's Harbor with Lupe Velez. You know who Lupe Velez is? Never heard that? She killed herself.
Really?
Yeah, she killed herself. Tried to be remembered.
Oh my God! And I don't know who she is.
No,
Sorry, Lupe.
They tell the story actually on Frasier one time on the show Frasier. She wanted to be remembered, so she wanted to kill herself. She did her makeup and her dress and then took a shitload of pills to look perfect on her bed. Placed herself all on her bed, but before she died, she got real sick and went and threw up, and they found her with her head in the toilet. So. Memorable, yes, but not exactly what she was going for.
Sorry, Lupe.
Also, go see Shirley Temple and Curly Top.
Wow.
There we go. William P. Boyd and Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah.
Holy hell there. Look at this.
Movie.
More Shirley Temple movies here.
Jesus.
Holy fuck. Case Francis and Stranded. And finally, this is a big one. AIDS when you need it. Does it not say that?
It sure does.
AIDS when you need it.
Yeah.
Use Capillaris X for boils, eczema, rash, pimples, itch, and other skin and scalp disorders, and the many open wounds received in the course of the day's work.
Yeah,
how many open wounds are you receiving?
I don't know, but that's how you get it. AIDS gives you legions,
and then you got to
shit.
take that shit. Jesus Christ.
So they're giving you like different types of AIDS for all kinds of different problems?
Sorts of different problems.
Jesus.
They'll give you AIDS. There's different AIDS for different things here. And then go down to the Curtis Hotel in Minneapolis for the Donaldson Style Review in the new White Room. Stunning models, delicious dinner, dancing to Dick Long's music.
Oh,
I bet you are. Dick Long.
That's another form.
Come on, man. Come on, I know it's the 30s, but he knew what he was fucking doing.
He sure did.
All this for $1.
That's a deal.
Dinner and everything else. And also... You want to fly? Flying air travel has come into play. Northwest Airlines.
Way to go, Howard Hughes.
Fuck yeah. For the first time, you can make direct connections with Northwest Airlines, the shortest, least expensive air travel to the East. Simply leave here by plane in the afternoon and board the Manhattan at Seattle, which now leaves at 6:30 p.m. Winnipeg is but 21 hours away.
What?
Only 21 hours to get to Winnipeg. This is pre-jet flights, so they're flying low and slow. Or you're in Chicago at 10:40 the next morning. That's all. Direct connections to Montreal, New York, and other eastern cities. Wow. You save as much as $41 on a round trip over the short shuttle. Northwest Airlines is one of the oldest and most mature in America.
Yeah.
It's 8 years old, very mature. And your ship's comfortably heated, I guess they call it an airship, is one of the newest and fastest in the world. To reserve your private armchair on this money-saving line, call SEY 7131. And there's the route.
Comfortably heated.
That's the route.
Holy shit, that's so far.
That's all it is. That's the whole Northwest route.
That's
you can
it?
do connections from there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's their hub, and then you can connect into these few cities.
Bop off the connection.
That's it.
All across the north.
Yes. And also, I have to ask you a question finally, once and for all. Jimmie, how's your coal pile?
It's getting, I don't know. You know,
your coal pile, everyone out there, how's your coal pile, everybody? Good or bad?
I'll have to look.
I have to check my coal pile. I'm a little worried about it.
I will have to call my maritime Negro and have him check
on your coal pile, see if there's anything fistic he can do about it. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, holy shit. Yeah, I saw this sitting over there. I'm like, how's your coal pile?
That's a headline.
That's a headline. How's your coal pile? Also, they have dry wood and coal delivered when and where you want it. Courteous service at Missoula Coal and Transfer Company in Missoula, Montana there. So October 29th, 1935.
Oh, boy.
2 weeks after the appeal is the day of his hanging.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
The trial was, 4 months ago?
Yeah.
It's like 4 months later. You're
4 months
hanging.
and 2
Done.
weeks.
2 weeks, done. So, there was all sorts of protesters there. There was a woman named Mrs. J. Vander Est back then who she was like this older, very old lady, looked 100. I don't know. She's probably 45 back then, but she looked 100.
She was 19.
And she was Hilda's little sister. She looked 100, and she organized all these anti-capital punishment protests back then. And they'd sing like religious hymns, and she played it real like the Christians played protesting the Vietnam War, like real peace and religious hymns, and Jesus wouldn't like this and all that kind of shit. So that's the type of shit she's playing.
Today she'd be sending us petitions.
Today she would send us a petition saying that how bad we are. We love when we get those.
Yeah.
So she had she had followers there. They had people with signs denouncing the death, like a protest, like we have now here. But this was a big deal, and because this was like an old lady, and these were like prominent people in the community that were doing this. So it was considered like we should listen to them.
Yeah.
Now Del Fontaine left a note behind. It's his last words, and that is, Hilda Meek broke my heart. I spent my last cent on her. She turned me against my own wife. That's his last words.
That's all he wants to
Still
say.
mad at her.
Yeah.
Still mad. Well, it's only been a few months.
I can't believe you're going to hang me for what this bitch did.
Right? He didn't even have fucking time to understand it and then feel empathy and have remorse. He didn't even get to that yet.
They're like, you murdered a woman. We have to hang you. No. You don't understand. I murdered her because she ruined my life.
Did I not tell you I spent my last cent on her? What the fuck do you want from me?
She turned me against the woman I love.
When I had no more money.
We get it. We're going to hang you for it.
Yeah.
Well, no.
They take him to the gallows, and against the shouts, and I mean the protests got loud. It got to be pretty contentious, this whole thing, but they end up, he is hanged on October 29th, 1935. The warden of the prison afterwards was quoted to a newspaper saying, quote, he was the bravest fellow we ever saw go to the scaffold, because he probably didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
He was probably like, oh, that's all right, I'll get him next round.
Right.
What's that? Now, if
they're putting the noose around his neck, he said, no, Vaseline on the cheeks.
Yeah,
please.
you know how it goes. Now,
he's got cranium tapioca trade.
Yeah, he does.
It's not good.
Why does he have pudding coming out of his ears? Oh, that's his brain. Now, the warden, obviously, he's kind of depressed about that. He sounded sad about it. He's a brave bloke to send to the whatever. But if he is sad, right around there in that newspaper locally, I did find you can get a quart of Mayflower straight rye whiskey for only $1.75 a quart, 90 cents a pint.
A quart.
A quart.
Good Lord.
So you could do that and feel better about yourself. And that's Del Fontaine. He is buried over in like the prison cemetery in England. Yeah, they didn't send him back here or anything. They were going to pay for that. Ship his ass back to fucking Manitoba.
Yeah.
No.
What, on Northwest?
No, you could have done it on Northwest. Very inexpensive, but they would have had to ferry him across they'd have to ford the Atlantic Ocean again with a corpse in tow. Not great. So, that's Dell. He's dead. Hilda's dead. Poor her dad went on, and
the mom
had to recover
with 1930s healthcare after being shot.
After being shot.
Fuck, she was a mess forever.
Probably, or messier, probably shit into a bag forever, and that was that. Can't get enough of Dell?
Wow.
Well, I hope you can, because there's no memorabilia of him, because he's a boxer from the 30s. So there is nothing. If you want to feel like Dell, go bash your head against the wall about 600 times, and then you'll feel just like him, and then that's what you'll know. But that is Del Fontaine.
Unbelievable. What a story.
It's a weird little story from back in the day.
Yeah.
And see, these are fun.
Yeah.
And I figured, too, let's have fun with it, because I know on this episode, since no one's ever heard of him, no one will listen anyway.
No, right.
So this is for us. We get to have fun.
You know, they make movies like The Hurricane and the movie The Fighter. Is that what it's called? With Mickey Rourke?
Yes.
And Gladiator. All these movies about like ideas of what things are, and then a rough idea about somebody that was in that.
Yeah.
Fucking make this. This is riveting.
I don't know how this is not a movie.
Riveting.
It's insane that this isn't a movie.
Unbelievable.
Especially the time, too. It's a cool time.
The ending could be dope.
Plus roaring 20s. Then the Depression hits.
Right.
We didn't talk about that, but the Depression hits in 29.
Yeah.
Some of those newspaper headlines were crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, I mean, this is a crazy time. You could have a lot going on in the background.
Mix it up with like Hepburn and Hughes getting together, and all the romance that was Hollywood in that time was its story.
And Bruce Kimball both need to be movies. It's interesting. And last week's Small Town Murder, absolutely needs to be a movie, because I've never heard of a stupider story than that, or a crazier one. So
Hollywood running all these original scripts that are bullshit and stupid and not
sequels
good.
For the most part, anyway.
Right.
Yeah, make an
Stop
original
making
story.
Avengers.
Yeah, make this.
Right.
This is interesting, but who knows? Either way, if you like that story, let us know about it. Get on Apple Podcast, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars. Just say something. It doesn't matter what you say. I had to dig through newspaper archives from the fucking 20s. You can sign in for 2 seconds and say, I like this show. Good enough.
With the sales.
Yeah, with the sales. It drives us up the charts, though, so do that. It helps out a lot. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can get everything small town murder and crime and sports related. Merchandise, new stuff up all the time. There's masks up right now. All that money goes to charity, the mask money. We don't touch any of that. So get all of that. Get your merchandise. Get your tickets to upcoming live shows, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's looking like we're going to try to get these in the summer on. We have, August there coming up. And hopefully, if everybody fucking gets their heads out of their asses, we can have normal shit by then.
That'd be nice.
And we'll all be able to gather in a fucking room. Don't be an asshole now.
Right.
If you're an asshole now, then we won't have shows then.
Right.
That's how this works. So
it's today that matters.
Yeah. You guys can watch all the news and politics and shit you want. From a business standpoint, we're being told what actually happens from a math standpoint, not of, I like this and I like this, and well, he said this and that's a hoax and this is that. None of that shit. I don't care what side you're fucking
Hilda
on.
In that today matters, and then we'll worry about tomorrow.
In
later.
reality, they will not hold these fucking shows if there's spikes in this shit.
Right.
That's the fact.
That's how
You guys
works.
can ignore that it's going on then, or you can ignore it now, or you can not ignore it. You can do whatever you want. It's your fucking life. But what we're saying is, shit like this is affected by that.
Absolutely.
So think about that for a while, because we'd like to make a dime this year. That'd
Selfishly,
be great.
I want to go do shows. I want James to be able to go do shows.
I want to go do shows. I want to see you guys.
Collectively, I'd like to see live entertainment fucking thrive.
Yes.
And for that to happen on any scale, whether it be 250 seats or 1,000 or fucking Rolling Stones shows.
Who knows?
It's not going to happen if you fuckers keep leaving your house.
That's the other thing too, is we're going to have to worry about is we're going to get to a point in the fall and in the winter where we're going to have shit going on, and we're going to have some states that'll pay attention and some states that'll just say, fuck it, do whatever you want. And then we're going to have to make the decision of whether we're going to put all of our people in a fucking room together at their own risk or whatever.
Take a chance.
So then we have to decide that eventually. We don't want to do that. We're comedians. These are not, epidemiology is not what the fuck we do at all. So we're not claiming to be geniuses about this. We just want to have fucking live shows.
Neither are promoters. And they take a giant risk with this too.
So who knows?
So we have to go
hopefully get your tickets anyway.
Gambles, God damn it.
Do it. Come out there and see us and hang out and buy tickets to that. If you want to be a hero of ours, damn it, pay a producer. You can do that very, very easily, everybody. And you can get access to tons of our bonus stuff. All sorts. Last week it was War Machine's prison blog. We had a crazy Ken Patera story before that. We have Small Town Murder, tons of stories. Especially, you guys are really going to want to hear the all-violent felon dating game, prisoner dating game that we did, because that was a trip, man.
It's so ridiculous.
So we might do one of those and just release it as a bonus episode for everybody or something like that, because that's it's so fun, and we want everyone to know how fun Patreon is. So that's $5 and above. Patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can do PayPal. You just want to throw us a couple bucks because you're a nice person. You can do that also, PayPal, and use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. You want to follow us on social media, see when shows are rescheduled for, because we're still getting questions about, is this show going on May 8th? No, it's not. It's rescheduled for December.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah,
That's the answer.
Do you think there's going to be 600 people crammed into a fucking room in 3 days?
Next week?
Yeah. This weekend? Probably not. So that'll be later. So look those up. Check out our site. All the correct dates are on there and everything like that. But I can't have it anymore, Jimmy. My brain is feeling a little fistic.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only thing that will possibly help it is the list of the producers of my favorite goddamn people. Jimmy, pummel me with them until I don't remember my name.
This week's executive producers are Donna Lindakey, I believe so.
Sure.
James Bray, Heather Allen, Asha Gilmore, Procyon, and Merkava, I think. Yeah. Whitney Gregory, Brad Donovan, Brandy Amanda. Yeah. No, Brandy. It's just Brandy.
Hey, Brandy.
Amanda Russell. Lisa Martin, Ulysses Urena said happy birthday to his wife and didn't say her name.
Well, happy birthday, Ulysses' wife.
Happy anniversary.
Or anniversary. Happy birth-anniversary.
Christy, congratulations on being married to somebody for an entire year and forgetting who they are.
Good job.
Christina Lehman, also Jessica Barfield, Aaron Riley, I believe. I don't know. Megan Pavey, Filthy Dick, which I believe was supposed to be Filthy Dick, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I caught you, Phil. It's not your name. Brazelton Nuring, Caroline Stevens, Michael Humecki, Joyce Rudzik, Megan with no last name, Jessica Matthews, Brandon Wolf, okay, Tanya Volanik, John Sardo, Louis Tidrick. What did I do? I think it's Tidrick. He donated both ways.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, he got us both ways.
Fistic as shit.
Jordan Bennett, Justin Haynes, Jessica Christensen, Era Abrahamian, G.S. Thomas, Julie Kinsey. Hang in there, Julie. It's tough stuff. I know it. What is this? Rachel Autry Hunter? No, probably not. Jax J. Will and Nicole Feliciano. That's the Italian fellatio. That's what that is.
Perfect.
I think that's what that is.
Yeah, it is.
Shannon
Right.
Kinney, Chris Earnshaw, Brad Applegate, J.L. Russell, Ashlyn Lee, Trey Stay Lit. He does. I know that for a fact.
Good for you, Trey. Me too, Chief.
Douglas Collins, Jason Orzakowski, David and Marianne in San Diego, Brenton Mead, Kevin Spilker, Tracy Reed, Amy Ellis, Morgan Morrow, Blue Kieran, what is that? What did I do? Me fail presidential, the impossible. I don't know what that means, but I dig it. Alexandra in fucking Canada wrote us a nice letter. She is blind, and she approved of our blind jokes.
Sweet, thank you.
Was nice.
That's awesome.
Because there's nothing worse than a blind person hating you.
Blind people have great senses of humor, by the way. I've met a few. They always have a good sense of humor.
Well, Alexandra certainly does. The other producers this week are Anthony Peregrine. He donated both ways. Kurt Lawson, Rick Walls, Maria Soblikowski, Sobkowitz, Robert Zunikoff, Jennifer Belsan, David Bouchier Hayes, Jared Brown, Thomas Smith, Jackie Sukop, Ryan Sargent, Jody Fisher, Nathan Adam Brown, Mia Konstraka, what is that? Kanstranich? Nope. Constran Stitch, Ashley Vio, Kristen Carlson. No, that's Preston. Sorry. Oh, boy. Alex Casali, Melody Agafo Teo, Mackenzie Miller, Trey Valkanar, Carl Kirshner, Christy Hansen, Janice Hill, Elliot Gibbons. What is this? Katrina Matijic?
One of those has to be close to wrong.
Leah Gavin. What is this? Leah Gavin. Hang in there, girl. That's what it was. Reagan Shalkley, Peyton Meadows, Rebecca Waring, Peter Ahern, James Martin, Carter, Hannah Kaleli, Stephanie Hawk, Aiden Frith, Robin Anderson, Neil Jones. He donated both ways. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
Brooke Kale, Craig Ventura, Robin Anderson, Howard Flowers, Amanda Justice, Deborah. Nope. What is that? Oh, Gary Howard. His wife's Deja's birthday was just a couple weeks ago, and he fucking messaged me, and I missed it. Sorry, man. W. Witt or White or Witty, one of those. Amanda Justice, Chad Lavareri. No, Lavarier, Tony Santos, Mitchell Murray, maybe. Nate Sage, Krista Walker, Claudile, what is this? Claudelize? No. Claudeliz, Alvarez, Tamsin Harkery, Caleb Ward, Southern Dirty Mama. No, Party Mama.
Hey, there we go.
Whatever. She's a nurse, and she's doing fantastic work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Amanda Knight, Tyler Gwill, Abby with no last name, Jamie Maddox, Morgan Walker, Sarah Kalin, Jennifer Prater, Nicholas Blinzier, Shauna Hollingsworth, Linda Baird, Jenny Shores, Nathan Little, Amateur Road USA, Decal Wolf. They make stickers, and they want to holler at us.
Cool.
Elizabeth Leonard Leatherland, Jesus, Paul Burns, Giovanni Lorenzo, Diane, no, that's Dion Horn. Let's see here. Where did I go? Yeah, Jamie Maddox. By the way, a Maddox was in the show last week. Yeah, that is a fucking hatchet, not a knife. No. It's fucking horrifying. It's a hunting hatchet.
So he went from a Bowie knife to a hatchet to a gun.
Right.
He was escalating.
Pretty good way to escalate. Delphina Homan, Francisco Medrano, Dave Brown. I think that's Dave. If it's Dale, I apologize. Golden Wars 65. That's the equivalent of a pissing match, I think.
Yeah.
Sayaka Matusawik. No. Matsukawa. Close. Not even close. Caitlin Kukuli. Neff Maxwell Kavanaugh, Kelsey Robbins, Ashley, no it's not, it's Allie, no it's not, what is that? I think it's Allie Quay, yep. Fish Gerald, Juliet Hughes, Neff with no last name, Finn Webster, Angela Ford Sigum, Leah Kelly, Cynthia Cooper, Debbie DeCote, Lindsay Dykes, Azamatha, no, Azamatus, Duckshaw, Buck Shank, Jerry Hutton, Madison with no last name, Jacob Cole, Michael Gruner, Elizabeth Compton, Jessica Shackelford. Why is that so hard for me?
I don't know.
Andrew Tracy, Candace Kennedy is back. Thank you, Candace. Thad Dodds, Aaron Gomez, Jamie Infantes Ward, John Buford, Luke Casey, Elizabeth Manriquez, James Hansen, Bobby Evans, Luke Casey, I said that. Joseph Eddington, Catherine Hennessy, Whitney Edwards, Sarah Gallant, Caitlin Picard, Emily Williams, Sean P. Kincaid, Crean. Fuck. Kelly Strayed donated $6.66. I dug that just for whatever reason. Olympia Buckingham, Tracy Dana, Steve Kowalczyk, speaking of cool chick, Cody Plattner, Phil Cantwell, Kyler Stotman, Jess Driver, Scott Hollingsworth, Nolan Regenweather, Lisa Sutak, with a question mark, Karen Chelene, Desiree Smith, Blanca Singh, Carrie with no last name, Jason Cherry, Emma Mitchell, Denise Rise, Suwook Huang, Amanda Berrigan, Tracy Thomas, JC Gonzalez, Jake Gonzalez, hey. Rory White, Cindy Dew, Beth Sutherland, Lisa Womack, Johnny Griff D, Jeffrey Swank, Carmen Peltier, D. Taylor, John Rogers, Javon Betts Beisner, Tiffany Defabritis. That sounds terrible.
That sounds like a disease.
Sounds like your bones are falling apart.
I'm sorry you have that.
Debbie Laura and E.J. Hausler, William Peterson, Brandy Tort. I don't know what I wrote. John Engsener, and Gesser.
Yes.
Julian Webster, Mallory Udy, Amelia with no last name, Heather Melling, Lindsay Cooper, Shauna Nicole Rains, Alex Warner, Taylor with no last name, Edward Brock, La Babe, Carrie Brazel, Sarah Normal Activity, Jessica Landry, Nicole with no last name, Stanford Hedgert, Wendy Miller, Stan Favorites. Oh, that's what it is. Lucy Statura.
Okay.
Listen, it's her birthday. I don't know.
Well, happy birthday
and
to
her
you.
son, her favorite son, Stan, said happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Catherine Haynes, Stephen Bailey, Sonny Thomas, Giovanni Gibellino. No, I didn't. That was close, but I did a nice job. Megan Fawcett, Jeff Lewis, Luke Patrick, Holly Barthlow, Jay with no last name, Shane Bartlett, Brett Yost, Jeff Rash, Dulcie Hall, Colette Marsh, Caleb Duncan, Jack Townsend, Jeremy Jennings.
Yeah, that's way easier.
Drew Vaughn, Mysterio Wolf, I think, Josh Bruzan, T.G. Dalton, Matt Morrison, Blake Farnsworth, Lisa DeLaughter, Jessica Dowd, Stupid Asshole. There, you happy? They tried so much.
They really want to.
They tried really hard, and I had to actually spell it out so that I would pronounce it right, just for them. Megan Kiley, Rachel with no last name, Laura Sainer, Jane Peterson, Emily Purdue, Hannah Budd, Devin Halpin, Michael Carnes, Emma Drury of the Drury and Fortune, obviously, Sasha Hampton, Christine Goodwin, Hunter Faulkner, Star Rodriguez Moser, Soraya, Christopher Wallen, Anthony Peregrine, Chris Grudzik, Duncan Price, Chris with no last name, Brian G, Karen Windsor, Joe Chang, Derek Kirchner, Nikki Morton, John T. Gaffney, Chris with no last name, Elise with no last name, Alan Powers, Amy Brunfield, Akila Bonner, Tisha Alberts S. Oh, I don't know. I have a period there. M. Guthrie, Brooke Crawford, Haley Coman, or Common, I don't know, or Gowan, Izzy with no last name, Cello L. Shauna Cope, S. Sins Keep, Caitlin Morgan, Colton Lowry, Izzy with no last name, Meredith Kumel, Josh Elul, Jocelyn Swearingen, not her last name, but that's pretty cool that she did that. Wow. Lynn with no last name, David with no last name, Tyler Smith, Alex Castro, Cheryl Dodge, Roseanne Robinson, Robinson, Leslie Nelson, William with no last name. We are so close to the end. No, we're not. Raymond Saucedo, Corey Hendricks, Steve Forcell, Blair Bornston, Bradford John Moslener, Andrea Papa, Kasten Johnson, Rowan Weeks, Kyle Bailey, Ada Terrell, Kayla Tyree, TJ Brito, Jennifer Copeland, Jennifer Barretto, Deborah Larson, Mary Keenan Brown, Stacia Harmey, Brooke Henderson, Rohan Bahas, Virginia Allen, David Sabisky, Allen with no last name, Jen Phelps, Brian Dennis, Sleazy E, fucking yeah, Laney Eagle, Lauren King, Angela with no last name, Jennifer Torres, Cheyenne Luna, Sig Alexander, Cole Fenn in Style, probably not, Mark Burrows, Susan Phillips, Kimberly Sharp, Kimberly Batone, Haley Medell, Shelby Gale, Ben Hammond, Matthew Jennings, Joshua Smith, Joshua Brown, Alyssa Lobig, Doomrock, Anthony Goldstein, Andrew Bullholtz, Nicole DuPont, Louise with no last name, Blush with no last name, William Carlucci, Deidre Fortino, Vicky Sykes, Molly Kerrigan, Christian Zweifel, Samantha Parker, Megan with no last name, Jordan with no last name, Don Richards, Joshua Peak, the RM Construction Boys, Jana Wellhouse, Javette Clark, DJ, no it's not, Di Anda Putman, Colin Foster, Karen Sawyer, Shannon Weston, Cecilia Brescuia, nope, Sophia Foster, Sawyer Hunter Brown Dog, Volstead, no first name, Jennifer Kennedy, Devin Guillory, Corin with no last name, Michael Humphrey, Tyler Niemiller, Krista Eiler, Grace Mackey, Trish Murley, Sean Carlson, Kayla with no last name, Michael Conway, Garrett Goodman, Hannah Lorna Bevins, Drew Mannery, that's Man boobs.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Ashley with no last name. Kayla Marquardt. Gustavo Cheese Toe. Oh, I don't know what that is. I imagine it's an inside joke somewhere. Andrew Bruzano. Gemma Bowman, Mickey Doherty, Dustin Barabo, Mike Morris, Amanda Marie, Chris Reber, Courtney Withrow, Karina King, Elizabeth Daniel, Sarah Gracie, Lance Jeans, Chelsea Rebick, Lance Armstrong. No, Angston. Angstman.
Lance Armstrong.
Sorry.
Thanks, Lance.
All that ball money.
Some of that cancer money.
Yeah. Gotta Alcars? Gotta Alcares? No. Stacy Hardy, Amber James, Tamela Smith, Tamela? Matt Stein, McDestroyer 1. What is that? 7123, in case you thought it was 7122. Nola Litwins of Riza with no last name. Amelia Rupnick, Jessica with no last name. LaDonna Little Elk, Meredith Rogers, Kyle Waters, Megan de Blasio, Emily L, Katie Landy. What is this? Tater Nuts, Vanessa Hancock, Kyle Bowder, Kate Langwagner, Mike J 11, not MKEJ 11, not the 10 one.
Gotcha.
Ted Foster, Chelsea Taylor, Casey Ferran. Gotcha. Alyssa Eggleston, Okajawan. No. Oakwane, KJ. Dylan Leahy, Amos DeJarnis. Shit, what am I doing? Austin Walsh, Lori Piat, Bobby Stromer, Paula Strauss, Trevor Atkins, Will Bronig, Casper with no last name, Haley Salo, J-Bone 83, Nancy Minister, Hannah Carpenter, Hannah Carpenter, Haley Silent, I said that, Christy with no last name, Will Brown, I said that, Megan Booth, or both, Jennifer Edwards, R.J. Morgan, Aaron Hedges, Jordan Sewart, Mark Anderson, Carter Hearn, Janelle Kaiser, Nick Mahmood, Ben with no last name, Heather Toot, Savannah Barford, Angie Lynn Sands, Zane Brown, Pat Adams, Katie Kavanaugh, Jamie Stott, Madison Spencer, Will McGowan, Rosa Garcia Areola. Oh, Jesus. That's real. That's the real thing.
All right, then.
Krista Eiler, Jamie Petrizino. No, hey. Petrizzo.
Close
Jane Petrizzo. Fuck. I'm sorry, Jane. I'm an idiot. Robin Biscup Rule, Bryce Metzger, Rina Ferlate, Kyle Moore, Bill Pace, Chrissy Taylor, Olivia Lau, Kyle Moore, Hannah Cubatus, Jason Cumby, Betsy with no last name, Kara Joseph. Now we're getting close. See what I'm doing
here we go. Home stretch.
Meredith Schumacher, what is that? Myth Cool, Joseph Lopez, Terry Irvin, Janet with no last name, Scott McCormick, Lori Farney, Adrian with no last name, Jennifer Loss, Daniel Ballou, Ashton Starr, Olivia Tower, Adam Lynn, what is that? Tate Aarons, Allison McGlynn, Jennifer Turner, Marcelino Felipe, Scott Botello, Roe, Broden, that's no last name, Braden Matthews, Megs Goodwin, Megs, Fiona Crisp, Skylar Rexwinkle, I think, John Schiffer, Crystal Stout, Rebecca Pig, Dwayne Tucker, Ross Timbrook, Jessica Andrews, Derek Shaw, Kristen with no last name, Petrionia, what is that?
Who are you asking?
Patreon Android. What? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry.
They know who they are.
They tried to be clever, and I fucked it up. Kristen with no last name. Mike with no last name. Matt Neal, Jesse Mayfair? No, yeah. Danielle Dunmeyer, Jeff Hammock, Jordan Folkstad, Sam and Cade, Mackenzie, Ann Lund. I don't know how many names that was. Amanda, what is this? Jack Revens, Amanda Plackholm, Jordan Folkstad, Mr. Meeky, Jalen Bates, Jalen Bates Diffin, and Jennifer Tennyson. Amber with no last name. Nikki Gorey, Emily Adams, Paul Jongma, Christopher Weber, Michael O'Gear, Jamie Ellsworth, Gracie Hagan, Rosemary Lockwell, or Cockwell. Steve, I think
One of the two.
I think it is. Steve Cockamies. It's a language.
Anyone whose name's doesn't have cock in it coming up? It's all cocks from now on.
Matilda Cock Carter. Valesia Cock Gaines, Ty Cock Skiba, Jordan Cock Knapp, Aid Cock Matthews, Antonio Cock Carey, Kaylee.
That's a nice name. It's pretty rolls off the tongue.
Khalil Kelly, Asha Marie, Jen Myers, Brittany Robeson, Mindy Susan Carlos, Shannon Ruger, Elijah Personette, Margot Jackson, Zach Hall, Kimberly Hawley, Nicole Francis, Allison Menz, Mike Collier, Amanda Portala, Michelle Bauer, Regina Caldert, Bradley McDougall, Allison Baruth, Tessa Goodman, or Godman, Shelby Strube, Gabriel Rowland, Arthur Deaton, Brad Struber, Linda Johns, Thomas King, Jamie Larson, Joe Byerly, Brandon Culberson, Justin Haynes, Micaiah King, Warren Pierce, Tom with no last name, Jacqueline Van Grudel, Neil Laugh, what is that? Neil Loaf, Corey Seiler, Caitlin McGarry, Carrie Bendel, Joseph Nelms, it's MKB, Jenny Lee, Ann Bradley, Tabitha Ripley, Marissa McLaughlin, Donovan Davis, Tim Berger, Corey DeBlack, Rue Lee Story.
It'd be easier if they all just had cock in them, wouldn't it?
Michelle Cock McMorris, Sarah Cock Grove, Ryan Cock Sheehan, Jeff Cock Conover, Paul.
See how much easier it flows for you? It's just more natural.
Ricky Cock Clark, Will Cock P.
Ricky Cock Clark is my favorite for some reason. Sorry, Ricky Cock Clark.
Savannah Allen, Nicole Moon, Kaylee Faye, Leah Heath. See, you're right. It's because I got time in between the name when I say cock, because that rolls through. Then my brain starts to process the last name.
Exactly.
Matt Nasser, Janet Crosscheck, Ewan Eddinge, Zach Hall, Alex with no last name, Kimberly Holly, Mikhail Erickson, Krista Schmidt, Amber with no last name, Michael Gallagher, Jeff Stanton, Tyler William Crew, Dallas Martin, Dylan with no last name, Lisa Kaufman, Colin Spencer, Matt Natwisip, I'm never going to get that one. Nathan Sullivan, Jenny Neighbors, David Drake, Brian Drangshort, Schultz, Jay Philly, Josh Frausto, Leah Nicole, April Moore, Anthony McGuire, Paul Cock Lee, Bill Cock Bailey, Lindsay Cock Hardy, Joe Cock Colucci, Nicholas Koliskinov,
Kocklistanov?
Yes, Koliskinov, David Bagshaw, Veronica Price, Dallas Martin, Tyler William Cruz, Jeff Stanton, where did I go here? Nicole Francis, Mark Davis, Brenton Mead, Sean N., Elizabeth Hansen, Wifcat, Ethan Judd, Austin Osment, Jeff Stein, Padraig Murphy, Joanne Bagley, Tim Baker, Emma Kisu, Laura Carson, Samantha Stafford, Yvonne Ostatke, I think.
Sure.
We're there. We're right here. Stephanie Cruz, Ian Woodhams, Mariah Plotkin, Heather Legg, Laura Ellen Burtsfield, Alexandra Brakonovich.
Kokonovich?
Yep, Kokonovich. See how much easier it is.
So much easier.
Connor Cock McKelvey, Austin Wood, and his cock parents.
Hey!
What?
Thanks, cock parents. We appreciate that.
You guys are amazing. Will Nagel, Laura Ellen Brutsfield, Tamer Chalker, Jacob DeSaro, Efren Dominguez, Zoe Cock Cahill, DeAndre Cock Brinson, Cabrina Cock Bethany, Jason Hippich, Benjamin Fleming, Gregory Thomas, Marijuana. Oh, I see what you did there. Jill Fry, Scott Denon, Chris with no last name, Catachino. I see what you did. Lex Leary, Eric Weinhold, Taylor M, Chris Orr, Peter Cock Cass, Kristen Cock Zisk, Lindsay Cock Newton, Kelsey Cock Taylor, and Peyton Cock Donaldson. You guys are fucking incredible. Thank you.
thank you, everybody. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You guys are amazing and have been amazing to us this week and every week, honestly. So we cannot thank you enough. Jimmie, what if people wanted to say anything to you? They wanted to thank you. They wanted to just be mad at your fisticness. How could they do that?
There's so many things that people want to say to me. And if you want to say them to me, you can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram. What about you?
Oh boy, you can find me at Jimmie P is funny, or just copy and paste my name from the show description and plug it in that way and save yourself some misspellings, because autocorrect will not take my last name as a name ever. It's going to correct it to something else, petroleum or something. So you guys can do that. And until then, thank you for joining us again in another crazy episode of Crime and Sports. We love this goddamn show, and we're going to keep coming back regardless of who the fuck is listening to it. Live from the Crime and Sports studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.